kitty.
Kitty, yeah.
Which kitty is this?
This is Xerxes. Xerxes, there we
Aw.
go. What a star. He's driving me crazy. But yeah, hello.
Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you all enjoyed the Rogue Prince. He was quite roguish in this one. He was basically shitposting, which I thought was pretty amazing. Like that letter. It's like he's just trolling. He drew a middle finger and sent it to Viserys. That's basically all that was. That was kind of crazy.
I liked how they did that a lot too, because I thought he was telling the truth.
Oh yeah, he was in the books, right?
Yeah. Well, it says that, but we can't really take anything that it says in the book as being the truth, and this speaks to that, I suppose. Oh, I'm very low volume. Whoops. Turn myself up. I saw that in the chat. Sorry, y'all.
Let me see if I can turn that up.
It could be on my end too.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, let me talk and see how that is for
Just
y'all
keep talking
now.
about books, Ashaya. Just
Okay.
keep talking about them.
But no, sorry, distracted by the chat. But and I'll give a shout out to my Mazaria shirt that I'm wearing, Lady Misery.
Hello.
On brand for this Mazaria episode.
Yeah, that was a lot of changes they had about Masaria. Pretty much everything we knew about her was just thrown out the window in one scene.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, pretty much. They're just like, no, they were just wrong about this woman.
Everybody was just wrong. She never got pregnant. She doesn't actually think that much of Daemon. I thought that part was funny. She's like, I don't actually like you. Like, you were just like giving me freedom and stuff like that, and that's what I really care about.
Yeah, I really liked that they had her, that they addressed the fact that she just has decided never to have children and has had, I guess, the medieval version of her tubes tied, basically. Whatever magical type of thing she took, aborticent, you know.
That's true. I mean, considering how we just saw them doing a cesarean section, I am sure it was not cool, whatever they did to her.
Yeah, that's true. Probably her ensuring that she could never get pregnant was not a pleasant thing, potentially.
Very, very, very unpleasant. Also that she's had been bought and sold a bunch of times, so I guess they're really leaning into the free cities part of her. I thought she had been mostly from King's Landing. I guess not. I guess they're really going to lean into the idea that she's been bought at the slave market, and actually, she's from Lys, so that would make sense, I guess.
Yeah, that's where she's most from, but I guess like any person who's moved around a lot, she's not like truly from there. She said she doesn't know where her homeland is basically what she said. She does not know what race of people she comes from, is what I took from that.
It's very Melisandre.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely.
Who knows? Maybe she's a fire priestess too, and she's also going to start shooting out shadow babies. I can't have babies, but I can have shadow babies. Just start shooting them at crab feeder.
Do crabs do that? Do crabs just eat people?
I don't know. Do they?
I'm not like, is that a thing? I didn't know that crabs did that. If there was a dying person, that they might eat them.
I guess, like, they just, like, walk up and just take nipples or everything, like...
Does he have, like, barrels of crabs that he, like, brings out to, like, release the crabs?
Yeah, why are you pirating there if you have that many crabs? Start catching them. Start selling them. You got a business. It's like, Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, except for Crag-ass Crab Feeders crabs. I'd buy it.
Yeah, yes, that would be a better profession for him. More
Not
respectable.
Great. Do you think I should actually introduce what we're doing here?
Yeah, I guess so.
We just started talking. Hi guys, it's been about 5 minutes. We've been, or more than that, after the technical difficulties, which are basically a feature of my stream, no longer a bug. Somehow, every time I open up OBS, it just explodes on me. I don't really know how I do that. It just kind of does. It's like my computer hates me. So, yeah, we're talking here about episode 2, The Rogue Prince of House of the Dragon. And of course, joining me is the wonderful Ashaya of History of Westeros. This is going to sound really weird if you guys have been listening from the beginning, but don't worry, I'm going to cut it into the podcast version, and nobody's ever going to know.
Hi, everyone. It's been quite a while since I guested on anything, but I'm very happy to be here to give my opinion on an episode that I just finished watching, which is always interesting because I feel like things change things like crystallize in your mind. But there was nothing particularly controversial that I hadn't had time to already think about. So
No,
I
they
don't
really. I think that's a really good point. That the controversy from this episode is way down, like down to the floor from where they started off with. They really started off with a bang in the last one. Like I told this story on Twitter that my mom tried watching the first episode and couldn't get through the scenes with Daemon, and I was watching this one. I'm like, I think she could probably watch the whole thing if she skipped like the first 10 seconds, like pretty much.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the first 10 seconds and like the last, maybe with I don't know. That guy's pretty creepy, but I guess it wasn't that gruesome at the end. But yeah, the Stepstone stuff.
That was about it, and like even the maggot scene wasn't that bad. Nobody was humping each other and failing to finish or anything like that. There was no crazy brothel scenes with that one guy that stopped mid-stroke to listen to Daemon. That didn't happen. It was mostly just politics. People, yes, this was a lot of people talking. That's what this one was. They really, really toned it down, and there will be no internet-wide controversies this week, I think. Actually, no.
I mean, I don't know about that. I think the Corlys Rainey stuff with Lena, like that's going to be discoursed to hell and back, and it should be. I mean, like it deserves that type of conversation because it is a complex thing. I think they handled it well, though. Like, I didn't know how Corlys and Rhaenys would come off in pushing their 12-year-old daughter to marry this, like, 50-year-old man. And it didn't come off as terrible as I were. Like I think they showed in the show that they're aware that this is terrible. Which goes
and yet they are still doing it. Otto somehow manages to come off worse, which is amazing. Even though they're doing... We talked about this on your stream yesterday. It was like... Man, there is not a lot of difference between what they're doing. And actually, if you wanted to, it's kind of funny the way they structured it. So Otto is framed as obviously the bad guy, and you're supposed to see the Valarians as sort of the gooder guys, I guess, in this scenario. But it's Corlys and Rhaenys that are offering the younger child. It's like they just kind of balance those off, where it somehow got worse, even though you like them better.
Yes. Basically, and that is actually, I watched this with, I have an unsullied room. My roommate's girlfriend is unsullied, and so she watches with us, and I have enjoyed getting her perspective on it, as you can imagine. And she, as they showed Lena, then they cut to like Alicent, right? Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Oh, this doesn't look as bad when you compare it to her." Like she just said that out loud. I was like, "Yes, that's exactly like you look at her next to Viserys, and it does not look nearly as ludicrous."
I think it's still pretty bad.
It's still bad, but I still think the contrast of cutting from tiny little Lena to what looks like a more grown woman, it really like helps to make it not feel as gross, even though it is gross. But I think it does help to do that for the audience.
The shades of gray I wanted from Game of Thrones was not what is the acceptable age of a child bride. I'm okay without examining that as a shade of gray. Like I'm okay just saying all bad. It's all bad. Nobody's coming off good in this scenario. Everybody sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I think we should probably go back to the beginning of the episode. And what did you think of the new intro?
I have to say I'm underwhelmed. I think it looks cool, but I don't think it has quite as much significance or quite as much it doesn't do as much legwork in terms of setting the scene for the series. Like it doesn't really help orient the audience, if you know what I mean, like how the original one did with showing the different locations. So
like literally zero. Like
I
watched
it's just kind of confusing. Honestly,
I mean, me and you are probably pretty high up there in terms of like the percentile of people that know things about Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire. It took me like 4 times to go through it. Like, what the hell is this even supposed to be?
You see like the symbol for like Rhaenyra's little necklace there.
Oh,
like,
is that what
symbols,
that was? Okay.
One of the symbols that you see, and I'm sure there's lots of other Easter eggs in it, and we'll get to dig into them once we can like go through and screenshot it and all that. I'm sure there's lots of cool Easter eggs, but you watch the original Game of Thrones intro and it just instantly, a casual audience member's like, oh, that's Winterfell, that's King. Like I feel like it really helped the audience, and this I don't think helps the audience really much at all. It's just cool.
I think the entire way through, if this was their first time watching House of the Dragon, I think they would watch that intro and be like, I don't even know what show this is for. What is this supposed to be? It's this like it's that scene. I said it was from Blade. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
The scene with Lamagra scene where the blood's dripping out of him and it comes down the temple and makes him to the blood god. It was that. That's what it was. I was like,
yeah, you know, it's like the blood. It's the bloodlines. It's the river of blood. Like I get what they're going for. I just don't think that it was super successful in terms of, again, grounding the audience and being something to help. Yeah, no orientation, but that's fine. The music was good. I know some people wanted new music. I think it makes sense that they stuck with the old one. I think it would have been nice if they did their own spin on the original music, like just slightly change it. I don't know.
I think if they had not made such a confusing intro, I think they could have changed the music, but I think they had to keep the music because otherwise nobody would have any idea what they're seeing. It's the only thing that connects it back to the original show. Like they did actually, I'm going to pull this up on my desktop. I have these screenshots. Hang on a second.
Oh, great.
I did this beforehand. 1 second.
Of course.
Why is it opening up Photoshop? That is not what I meant to do. File. I don't even know what this new picture on Photoshop is.
But yes, the intro is the model of the Valyrian city. It's just that, well, how significant is Valyria really to House of the Dragon? Only a little bit, I think. So yeah, it's cool that it's the model of the Valyrian city, but that is, you know, some people are gonna love it. And to be clear, I don't feel strongly about it. I'm just like, meh, disappointed.
Well, it was especially after they like tried to hide it for so long. Like it was like, oh, there's this new thing coming in. They didn't show it at the premieres, and this is kind of like, all right, okay. Well, I'm gonna need an explainer to figure out what this is.
Yeah. It's like we're the ones that will have to make the explainer. No, I'm looking forward to looking at each of the symbols because I do think there'll be great significance in it. And we were able to pick out, again, we saw the crown and you see Rhaenyra's 3-ring like Valyrian steel necklace that Daemon gave her. So there's already some that jumped out and there'll be more. So that'll be fun to dig into.
Yeah. Hang on, let me see if I can actually do this correctly.
If you could actually find the image that you prepared.
No, I have the image. I'm just trying to get it to show up on the screen. Okay. So I think this is going to work.
Oh, yes. There it is.
So this is the first one. It looks like some kind of sword or something. Maybe it's crab feeder. Like. I don't really know.
No, I think that looks like the sword, like just one of their sword. Again, these are meant to be different symbols of House Targaryen and of Valyria itself. So I would guess that this is a Valyrian steel blade right there, and maybe something else.
I guess it was. I had a low res version when I was making these. it dropped earlier, so I watched it a little bit early. But this shows is 720p, but I couldn't really figure out what the hell it is. It's a wig. Is that what people are saying?
It's a wig.
Okay, so this is the second one. I could not make it out, but it looks like something SOC or like is it Dragonstone or something? I don't really know.
It kind of looks like a bridge from the side to me, or maybe that's that's like I think it's a dragon. Like those are wings, like a bat.
Oh, you think that's a dragon?
Like a dragon. I think that's a dragon.
Okay.
I think it's like it looks like wings to me, but yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing this in 4K quality.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I mean you had to have it ahead of time, but that's what it looks like to me. I think. Ooh.
This one, it's actually better if we zoom out.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell what this one was. Kind of looked like a crown, but there's one that definitely looks like a crown. So I was like, they're not putting two crowns in. This one I had nothing for. I have no idea what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I can't see that one well enough from here. We'll get a closer look soon enough. Oh. Yeah, and I have to wonder if any of these will be like, High Valyrian, if these will be like the written Valyrian language, the glyphs that David J. Peterson created in any of these cases.
Oh, that could be. Maybe that's what it is. This one's quite clearly Viserys' crown.
Yeah, that one is the crown.
That one makes sense. I was like, okay, everyone got that one.
And then there's the one that probably is coming up soon.
Nothing here.
Yeah.
This one was on the wall. Could not make it out. Absolutely not. This is a great stream. We're just going through it like, I don't know. I don't know.
I know one of them is definitely Rhaenyra's necklace. And so whether
it must be this one, right?
This one, that's her necklace. There's the one that we do know.
Valyrian steel, definitely. You can see the Damascus steel things on it.
Yeah. So we've got that reference, which you think about what other things are missing. You can maybe fill the gaps yourself. But which is why I think one of them being like a actual dragon would make sense.
You'd hope so. And then this was the actual last thing I caught when they were going through that weird tunnel. You can make out a bunch of the houses on it, but it's not houses you would expect. Like you can see a third from the left. That looks like Blackwood to me.
It is Blackwood. I saw something talking about it that it was Blackwood beforehand.
And then it's Dustin next to it. So is this the blacks on the left and the greens on the right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because you can see the line of Lannister on the right-hand side. I can't really make out the others too well. But if it's the Dustins and the Blackwoods, that's got to be the blacks.
That's interesting that they would be, doing a preview of the fighting to come, whereas I kind of assumed this was, I don't know, Aegon's Conquest or something like that. But no, that would make sense. And maybe we'll get a longer, just like how the Game of Thrones intro changed, maybe this one will change and we'll get a longer look at something.
Oh, yeah, that definitely could be. Clearly the dragon on top, Iron Throne underneath. I don't know what this is. It looks like 3 bells or something. I'm not that good at sigils to figure it out. And on the left-hand side, I have no idea what that is. I'm looking for the Stark logo. And I see
Hightower for one.
Where do you go? Second from the left?
To the second from the left. Yeah, I think that's the Hightower.
So it can't be the blacks then, because they would never. Oh yeah,
I guess you're right. Yeah, huh? Maybe it is Aegon's Conquest. Maybe that is what it's meant to be. I'm not sure.
I would love the idea that during Aegon's Conquest, it's like, who'd you beat? The Dustins and the Blackwoods. That's who I beat. Those are the ones I'm immortalizing forever on this weird thing. Also, I mean, it's quite clear. Hang on, let me see if I can get to the next one. This is quite clearly Viserys' model. Like this is the thing at the very back of it, the 2 towers, and at the bottom of it, you can see in the center the Targaryen thing with all the blood pouring into it. And so it makes me go back and wonder, like when we're talking about this, so Viserys made this, like he commissioned this, he commissioned all these things. Is that what we're supposed to understand?
Yeah, I do like that he did clarify. I did not sculpt this myself. I just, helped plan it, but he did clarify that in the episode. It was not all of his skills.
I don't know about that. I feel like he's like trying not to seem like quite the nerd he is.
Yeah, maybe he does a little bit of the sculpting, but he said it was the stonemason. So it's either way, like I'm impressed by him for managing to coordinate this whole thing and put the whole thing together, right? Like that's still impressive. Even if you didn't hand carve every piece, doing that is still impressive. So he's selling himself a little short. You're right.
If somebody walked in and saw, like, if I was a huge Warhammer nerd and somebody walked in and saw my armies, I'd be like, if you were trying not to seem weird to them, which is what he was trying to do to Alicent, I'd be like, oh no, I bought 3 of these. Like one of the, I only made one of these. I just own these. I didn't make them. That's what it sounds like. He totally made them. It was also curious that he was talking about he made it from the scrolls and like the histories. As far as I know, there's no maps remaining of what the Valyrian capital city is which he said it was. He was modeling the explicit city.
Yeah, well, in an interview before this episode, Patty had said that he was using that when the family left, they took old blueprints and plans from Valyria, and that's what he was using. And so clearly those do exist. And whether they exist in the books, I don't know, but in House of the Dragon, there's old blueprints from Valyria that he's using, although I still have my pet theory that I think that he also dreamt of Valyria. I think he had more reason for why he was doing this.
That is an extreme level of detail to be getting it from scrolls and books. I think you're right.
Exactly. And to decide to do that from the scrolls and books, I feel like it makes more sense that he was inspired to do this after like dreaming of it a bunch of times.
It's like Viserys with his dream about the White City on the other side of the Blackwater Rush. It's like, this is probably that city. This is probably exactly what he was dreaming of. He had it made it white too, so.
Yeah. I wonder if eventually they'll paint this model. Like, what's the end state for this model of Valyria? Like, when's it finished?
Apparently, when he runs out of room in his bedroom, because that thing's never going out the door.
Yeah. And I guess my other question is, are they just going to get rid of it when he's dead? Like, are they just eventually going to decommission? Like, what's going to happen to it? It's just going to, like, be down in the crypt? I don't know.
You made me sad. They're going to destroy it during the show.
You're just going to see people just absolutely demolishing and smashing it up.
Oh.
I know.
The other thing that I was thinking about is that Alicent is quite clearly, I mean, jumping ahead a little bit, in the scenes with Viserys, she is quite clearly unhappy to be there. And I know for a fact that his giant-ass model of Valyria is going to be a thing they fight over once they get married.
Oh, that's a fun idea. Yeah.
Get your stupid model out of our room, Viserys, or else I'm sleeping in another one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do wonder if we'll see them have discord and I mean, I guess we will definitely see them have some fights, because I think Alicent will like be too pushy with certain things, and Viserys will be like, "No, it's my daughter," and she'll be pushy, and so I think they will have some contention between them. You're right.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was interesting about, he actually said a few, I mean, this was a very low magic episode. They went from a high point in the last one and it just like completely went away. But this was the one thing they dropped in for nerds like myself and you. The idea that they built the capital city of Valyria into the side of a volcano, and all the great houses specifically put their homes as close to the face of the volcano as they could in order to increase their power. That's a new one.
Yeah, and they had the name for that location where the blood mages.
I wrote that down.
The Auguron. It's like Auguron. It's something Algarian. I cannot remember either now. It's like I thought I got it, but I do not. Hopefully, someone in the chat. What's it called?
I spelled it really weird. Anolgion. Something like that.
Yeah, it was,
he said it's like the Fire Mage Tower. So
yeah, because I remember it made me think of the word augur, with has to do with prophecy and fire. So it just like invoked that to me, but I was like, it's not that. So that was interesting. Just again, in our interview with George, he brought up the Blood Mages of Valyria. In another interview recently, he brought up the Blood Mages of Valyria, and here again, so clearly he talked to them about this a bit, and this was on his mind, and that's why he's been bringing it up in a bunch of interviews.
They're like, George, explain Fire Mages to us. All right, I'll figure it out or something.
I think that's what happened. He took some time to think about it, and now that's more fresh in his mind, so when interviews come up, it comes up too.
Or he just did special for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Aziz and Ashaya are showing up. I got to make up new lore. They're going to quiz me. I got to have it ready to go. The other thing is that there's been a lot of talk for years in the fandom, and actually I was listening to Aziz talk to Robert earlier on his preview stream, and they were talking about the idea of why didn't the dragons keep hatching after a certain point, and if they're explicitly linking the Valyrian power to the volcano, the move away from Dragonstone to King's Landing and the Dragon Pit may literally be the reason. Even though Dragonstone is not an active volcano, I guess if there's some kind of magic there, that could be why the eggs stopped hatching. Not so much
interesting idea.
Not so much a poisoning the dragons idea. I think that comes out from a lot of the Maester conspiracies. But if they literally have to be next to a volcano, and then all the dragons, basically, are not there anymore, or they're all in the Dragon Pit, I guess that could be why it ended up sort of. Sorry, a plane just got very close to my house out of nowhere.
Oh,
okay.
That's a dragon. I think, perhaps.
We're talking about too many secrets. They're coming to shut us down, Ashaya.
No, I think that I would be interested to look at the history of Targaryens hatching dragon eggs from the cradle, and if those babies were nursed on Dragonstone, or we know of a number of Targaryens who hatched a dragon egg in their cradle type thing, and so I'd be curious about that for sure, to see if we could see that like they were all living on Dragonstone, because that's kind of traditional that the family like lives back there. Or not. Or
the Prince of Dragonstone, who would most likely probably be having a lot of kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So if their cribs are all on Dragonstone, that could be it.
Yeah, and so like I think we'll probably see that like Rhaenyra, when she has her kids, they'll all hatch.
And she lives
they'll
there.
all be on Dragonstone, exactly. So when you think about Alicent's King's Landing kids, compare it to that. Did they have dragon hatch in the cradle? Helena tamed a dragon, Sunfire wasn't a cradle egg, was he? He was already around.
I don't remember too much about Sunfire. Okay. Mallory, you're in the chat. Tell us.
Yeah. Is Sunfire Aegon's cradle egg, or was Sunfire just a dragon that he tamed? That would be my question, because that would be a dragon that would be hatched in King's Landing then for sure. Same with Daron and Tessarion. Like they had dragons, but like for definitely Helena did not have a cradle egg. She just went. And I was excited to get the reference to Dreamfire.
What was the reference?
Also, when that was Dreamfire's egg that
was it?
Rhaenyra said, "What egg was it that he took?" And it was Dreamfire's egg was the egg that she picked out for her little brother. That is pretty cool. So she has a connection to Dreamfire a little bit.
The egg that becomes Dreamfire, or an egg from Dreamfire?
From Dreamfire, because Dreamfire is around. We know Rhaena, rid Dreamfire. So just a reference. They're setting the stage for this is a dragon we are going to meet and see tamed or whatever eventually.
To be honest, the episode that I was watching had French subs for all the High Valyrian, and my French is not great, so I lost quite a bit during those scenes. I was like Googling and putting the Google Translate, and I was like, what the hell is that word? Dreamfire is the one I was missing. I picked up the rest of it.
That's what you missed. Yep. Exactly.
This is what happens when you pirate. You miss High Valyrian. Although I'm going to do the Duolingo thing. I'm going to learn to speak it. We're going to speak High Valyrian like a nerd.
Hell yeah. or whatever hell yeah is in High Valyrian. You'll have to tell me once you learn it.
I already forgot everything I learned, so this is a problem. It was only this afternoon. They also asked me to roll my R's a lot, which I don't know how to do. So that's going to be a tough one. So I think the first thing is that they set up the conflict pretty early with Corlys and Crab Feeder. He comes charging in. He throws the doors open. He's like, what have you guys been doing about my ships? We need to do something about it. And instantly Otto's like, hey, calm down, man. They're just ships. No big deal. We'll give you money. Whatever. Corlys is like, they Ramseyed all my men. And I thought this was kind of an interesting scene because it's really not framed as a conflict between Corlys and the Crab Feeder. I mean, the Crab Feeder's doing stuff, but it's really an argument between him and Otto about whether or not they need to do anything. And I had sort of a thought if it was more political, the reason that Otto keeps saying nobody cares about the Stepstones, because it only hurts Corlys. So he doesn't care about fixing it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It only hurts Corlys, and he kind of wants Corlys to be hindered a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does he just want that for anyone that's not him, I think, but for him in particular. Oh, speaking of the Otto stuff, Melos, do you think what did you think about him kind of not going along with what Otto said at first and then being cowed by him? Some people might say that was calculating, but I think that blows a big hole in them being, tight.
It was interesting because you could see that I'm guessing that Melos is not actually a toady of the High Towers, but he probably normally feels that Otto gives advice he agrees with.
Yes.
And in this one, Otto finally pushed too hard, and Melos was like, no, this is a stupid idea. He should marry Lena. This is a thing that should happen. Also, by the way, just Britvic in the chat, I live from Matt's summary of the show in his own words. Yeah, I have a distinctive way of understanding how things happened. But now I have a new conspiracy. Is Otto behind the incursion on the Stepstones? Did he encourage the Triarchy to go after it and assure them the king wasn't going to do anything? Because that might not be him being behind it, but I could see him. He sent an envoy.
I could see him, encouraging, somewhat encouraging it, but not causing it. They were maybe going to do it anyways.
And who knows, maybe there was a party or something, or they said they sent envoys to Pentos and Volantis, but did they? Viserys seems pretty sure of it, but as far as we know, they never have anything to do with the war in the Stepstones. I could definitely see that Otto is specifically trying to get Corlys to spend all of his ships on a stupid war to bring him back down to his level. Because clearly those are the two power players on the council. It's not Viserys. It's not Melos. It's not Lord Strong, who literally doesn't get listened to. It's those two. That's the conflict.
He doesn't get listened to. I have to say, when Viserys went to talk to Lord Strong, I was like, oh, what's this guy going to say? I didn't have a good feeling about him.
Because he said women can't inherit?
Yeah, because he said women can't inherit. But I have to say, he was right. He was right that Viserys should have, as much as I think it's morally wrong and gross and all that, I think politically the correct choice would have been for him to marry Lena in Worlds.
Unfortunately, in terms of how to keep him on the Iron Throne, how to forestall the saber rattling coming out of Rhaenys and Corlys. I guess that's true. It's just like, man, find better options or something. Like, quite clearly, we saw that Laenor is older than Laena. That should have been the first thing they said. Why not marry the heir?
Yeah, I don't get why that, except that they're slow rolling us, the audience, and finding out. But like in terms of in world, it would have made sense for them to bring up. You have two options, or so, like it just would have made sense for it to come up at some point in all of this conversation.
I thought it was going to be the shoe that dropped after he says, "I'm marrying Alicent," and then turn to Rhaenyra and say, "You're marrying Laenor."
Yeah, I did think that would be when we got that announced. I would agree. I was kind of my anticipation.
But I'm guessing we're going to get more of the Kristen Rhaenyra stuff for a while.
And we're going to see different suitors, because we in the book we hear about different suitors coming for Rhaenyra and stuff like that. So I imagine we will see. That's a fun plot line to play out. I wish that Rhaenyra hadn't cut Harold Westerling off. I really wanted him to keep listing off every person in their family. I was like, oh, he named his father too. Yes, give us all that sweet lore.
Ashaya's just in there filling in family trees. Hang on a second. Go back. What's the name of Malister's father? Okay, let me get that down. We're going to go ahead and update my database.
Yeah, it was exciting. I was like, no, Rhaenyra, just let him finish. And she was not keeping her voice lowered at all. She was like, let them hear me.
Yeah, she's like, so anyways, any of these guys not dipshits? Okay, I'll pick the non-dipshit. It's like, all right. They can all clearly hear her. I thought the houses that they picked to put in that scene were kind of interesting. So there was Tarly, Tarth, Karen. They mentioned they didn't mention Corbray was in the back, Malister, but I thought the wild card was Crakehall, and also the fact that the Crakehalls are important because they are not important in Game of Thrones. They don't even come up at all. But he's like, listen, the Crakehalls, we gotta keep them on our side.
I think part of it is that anyone's higher than Kristen Cole's family as well. Like that just does nothing for them politically, really. But yes, you're right about that. They're not the most prestigious of houses.
But they used to be. Like after this time frame, like they go to war quite a lot, and at a certain point, they just kind of get their teeth kicked in and they just sort of stop being that important. But apparently now they're higher than the Tarleys. They're important. They're tusks. More important than the Corbrays. That one was surprising. The Corbrays are usually pretty important in the Vale.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Corbrays will come up again in important marriages and stuff like that. So yeah, they are important.
Pick the Tarth guy though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see a little bit more of the Tarth guy as well.
And I refuse to believe a knight of House Tarth has never been in any battle. Come on.
Yeah, I know they're on the sea. Like you would think that he would have fought some pirates or something like that potentially. I thought it was interesting that they had all those like figures ready to go.
HBO shop.
For the HBO shop. Yes, great. I guess maybe they just have figures just of all the houses, and then when they're like, okay, well which one do we have to pull out? Like I don't think they made each of those custom for this. They just have a set of them.
Do you think there's like
to represent every house?
There's a shop just outside of King's Landing where a guy who just makes like little animal models, and he's like, "Yes, my lord, tell me who's coming to court so I can make them their little models or something like that." They did the same thing with the marbles, that they were all unique to them. So somebody's making a lot of money on customization of weird little little toy things in King's Landing. Somebody's making a thrifty business making those things.
Yeah. That was very significant. Alicent replacing Viserys' dragon there. I have to say, I was very on the nose. Speaking of those little figurine things, and like it was both like significant on a meta level as viewers, but like genuinely, like that was really nice of Alicent. Like that really was a nice gesture on her part. Like
you thought that was Alicent?
I do think that was Alicent.
Oh, that was Otto.
I have to say, you think Otto
Otto
did that? I don't know. I guess maybe I just want to think better of her. That I want to think that she really is like kind-hearted, and she saw him break the thing when they were together. Like, or is Otto observing it, and like, or does he? I guess maybe she goes to Otto and she says, "Oh, today he broke a dragon," and Otto goes, "Oh, well, I guess then we'll fix it." I personally,
you want to see the good in her, okay?
I want to see the good in her. And before her first meeting with Viserys, Otto gave her was zero guidance that we saw on screen. He said,
True.
"Wear your mother's dress," and
Which she's
she
doing
went
now. And
she
lipstick.
brought a book and decided to read to him. I thought that Alicent chose a book to read to him. She chose to tell him about her mother's death as a point.
Sure.
Like, I don't think Otto told her to do that. I don't think he's really helping her that much, to be honest.
Although there was the thing when he was about to go to Dragonstone, and he gives her instructions on what to say to Viserys tonight. So I think there probably is a little more coaching going on than there was at first.
Yeah, he might give her more. So yeah, I'm curious to see what people's thoughts in the audience are, if they think that Otto told her to fix, if Otto handled fixing the dragon, or if that was
Let's make a poll here. Did Otto fix the dragon or Alicent? Yes or no? All right, there we go. Poll in the chat. Tell us what you think.
Oh, they have poll. I didn't know they had polls in the live chat.
Damn right they do.
No, he did not fix it for her. She did it herself.
Did you just vote no? Unbelievable.
I said no. That's what I think. No, Otto did not fix it for her.
I thought I made a compelling argument, Ashaya. I thought you had turned around.
You didn't turn around. I want to give Alicent props. I want to think that she is savvy in that regard. Although I really feel like, I think Alicent didn't. Okay, a couple things just to talk about this Alicent thing.
Okay, go.
Why was she at the meeting unless she knew that she was about to be? I was like, that's very suspicious. Like, so did she know that she was about to be announced to be his bride, and that's why she was there?
Yep.
Or was it a surprise? Because if she did know, they both really, really screwed up by not telling Rhaenyra beforehand.
Yeah, why surprise that?
Why surprise that? That's what I don't get about it. Like, except for the drama, but which makes me wonder if perhaps it was a surprise to Alicent, and she was like, "Why am I at this meeting? Why did he invite me?" And then he tells her, like, maybe she was not prepped in advance either. Perhaps.
I think she did know ahead of time because she pseudo asked for permission when they were in the Sept, where she was like, "Don't you think your father should marry again?" And Rhaenyra was like, "Yeah, I guess so." I didn't take that as a in general. I think Alicent was kind of being like me, but she didn't want to say that out loud.
I think that's true, but I still don't know if I think she knew that going into that meeting that he was going to announce that he's marrying her. But I think I'd like to think that Viserys went and said, "Hey, Alicent, do you want to get married?" before he announced this.
No.
So
he would not ask Alicent. He'd ask Otto.
Yeah, you're right. He went and told Otto, and then so maybe he went and asked Otto, and Otto said, "Hey, Alicent, this is going to be a very important meeting today. You should come with me." Like, I'm still curious if Alicent went into that meeting knowing what was going to be announced right then.
I think we're going to find out in the next episode, because they had Rhaenyra literally go and look over at it in the most overacted, "Oh my god, I can't believe it" reaction. So
again,
they're going to have her explore it.
Yeah, I think the biggest mess up then is that they didn't tell her before the meeting. They knew Rhaenyra would be in the meeting. That's just
or Corlys.
Yeah, or Corlys. Yeah, exactly. I feel like they should have told Corlys separately. You don't just to let people save face so that you don't look worse because Corlys storms off. It's just all around very poorly handled.
Buffoonery all around. I think, but it was probably planned buffoonery, because I think if Otto was trying to help, he would have said, "Okay, tell Rhaenyra beforehand. Also, work out the deal with Laenor and Rhaenyra and announce it at the same time so that nobody's surprised and everyone's okay." I mean, Rhaenyra's not okay, but Otto doesn't give a shit about her. I think the fact that the advice was to surprise the small council tells you that Otto was behind it.
Yeah, I agree that that was in Otto's best interest, and he wanted Corlys to be alienated by this news. He specifically wanted to make him feel small and like he was,
Yeah, definitely.
I do. And so, but Rhaenyra was unintentionally also the recipient of that. I don't know if I think Otto really cares about her enough at all to be like, yeah, and we'll slight Rhaenyra too. I just don't think she's even on his radar, really. I think he really doesn't have any respect for her, I guess.
Oh, Aaron wants a new poll. All right, so last one was 40-60, or 60-40 going your way, so you convinced everybody.
Oh,
let's do another one. Did Alicent, you're just winning all of them tonight.
Yeah, did Alicent know before? I think maybe she knew before. You might have convinced me on that one that she knew before.
This is like me writing YouTube titles, and it's just way too long. And
oh, yes. Did Alicent know before the meeting? Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
I said no originally, but I guess I'm gonna have to. You changed my mind on this one. I'll have to say yes.
victory.
I think she might have known, and that was where she was a terrible friend. Like, all around, like, it was not good behavior, but, like, that's pretty terrible behavior to not tell her personally, face-to-face, one-on-one.
Which I think is why Rhaenyra was so shocked. Not just that Viserys would do it to her, but that Alicent wouldn't say a word. Like,
Yes,
why would you
exactly.
not say that to your best friend? And I think that's when Rhaenyra was like, oh, our friendship means nothing to her.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And I mean, and Rhaenyra went into this thinking she knew exactly who Viserys was. Like, it's not just that she didn't think it would be Alicent. She specifically thought it was going to be Lena and felt that strongly, and that would have given her a little more time before she was potentially disinherited.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, sorry. Morally with the $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Mora, for just a
Thank
show of love and
you.
support. The MVP as always. The other thing, also, by the way, guys, make sure you slam that like button, because I will put on a silly hat. Ashaya doesn't have silly hats unless she does and I don't know about them, but I will put on a silly hat. If we get up to 100 likes, 171 people watching.
I have like
Wait. They have to hit the like button first, Ashaya. What are you doing?
That was a tease. I was seeing what I had.
It's a tease. It doesn't work if you just do it.
I'll find something here.
A cat. A cat on your head.
Yeah, put a cat in my head. There we go.
There you go. So what was the next thing? Also, Alicent quite clearly does not like Viserys. Like, hates being around him because
She's picking. I mean, she's. I don't know if I'd say.
Okay, hates may be
being
strong,
around.
but she was.
I think that's strong.
She is not into what she's doing. Like, clearly, Otto's forcing her, and she is unhappy about it because Viserys goes. He says something along the lines of like, "Oh, he basically asks if she likes being around him or something like that," and then the camera cuts, and it's just her picking at her fingernails, which is of course her tell that she's really uncomfortable with what she's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think she's very uncomfortable, whether she's uncomfortable just in general or uncomfortable because of Viserys very specifically and her feeling, I don't know. Like, I think she's also maybe just generally kind of anxious and stressed about things. Like, she might do that a little more off, like, not even sitting with Viserys. She might do that just sitting with Rhaenyra because she's stressed knowing that she's keeping a secret from Rhaenyra too, like, she's just uncomfortable in her life right now.
And pretty unhappy with Otto. There was actually a line that I wrote down from, by the way, actual notebook, because my handwriting's terrible. Look at that. Nobody can read it. They were in the Sept scene, and Rhaenyra complained that, she said that, I wish my father would see me as more than just a little girl. And there is this look on Emily Carey's face, and I think her thought process on that, she says something else, but I think she said, I wish my father... Like, internally, she went, I wish my father would treat me like a little girl again instead of trying to throw me at the king as a broodmare. It's kind of like an interesting inversion of where their paths and what they want from their life right now. Rhaenyra wants to be a more important person, wants to be more political, bigger part of the politics of what her life is going to be. And Alicent's like, I want out. This sucks.
I really like that take. I didn't think about that, but you're exactly right. That I do think that Alicent, when Rhaenyra says that, Alicent would be thinking like, "Oh, and they're pushing
you don't know what
me
you're
to
asking
grow
for,
up."
Rhaenyra.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. I agree. I completely agree with that. That's a great take.
And then Rhaenys basically said that out loud later in the episode, where she was like, "Wake up, girl! You have no idea what you're stepping into. This is like." I actually thought it was. Rhaenyra interpreted what Rhaenys was saying to her as an attack. Like, she was just trying to wind her up. Like, I think that's the Cersei and Sansa scene. They kind of replayed that. And in that one, Cersei is trying to help out Sansa in a little bit, but she's pretty drunk. In this one, Rhaenys is pretty deliberate. And it sounds like she's trolling, but her advice is actually very good. In that if she doesn't stop being a cupbearer, if she doesn't stop just... assuming the throne will be given to her because all these men swore to her, she's never going to get it. And then afterwards, we see her visually, she changes from her white dress to the Daenerys black dress thing, or black riding armor, whatever.
Breeches that she's getting,
her Daemon stuff, her Daemon gear, and then goes down on her dragon and makes things happen. But it's interesting seeing, this is something I talked about during the teasers and the trailers, and that Rhaenys is going to be much more puppet master. I think that people realize, because it's Rhaenys that made her go to Dragonstone. It was her words. So this is like the starting point for what she's going to do to these young women.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree. We're gonna see her. I'll be interested to see what words of. I mean, we saw it in one of the trailers. Rhaenys talking
Oh
to
yeah.
Alicent, and so that'll be very interesting as well to see
She
them.
says, "Have you ever thought about yourself on the Iron Throne or something like that?" I'm like,
I know.
that is a question.
Yeah, I know. And it's like I feel like Alicent. Alicent is a good girl. You know what I mean? Like in quotes, like Alicent follows. She's a follower. She does what she's told.
Sure.
But probably Alicent, even deep down, at some point, has to have thought like, what if it was different? Like even her, who is the dutiful one.
Apparently, being dutiful sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, and I think they're also really setting the stage for this kind of like religious rift between Rhaenyra and Alicent as well. They're showing that she's very faithful to the Seven and she prays and whatnot. And obviously, Rhaenyra is a little closer to her Valyrian ties than the
She
average
didn't know how to
faith
pray.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't know how to pray. I was like,
What?
I almost expected Rhaenyra to like be turned off by that. Like I don't pray for a reason. Like why are you pushing this on me? But instead she took it as what I think. I mean, Alicent really was trying to help her friend out. Like she did it in a very presumptuous way, in my opinion, by telling her to pray. But she was trying to help her get her feelings out.
I wonder if it was more out of guilt at what Alicent knew was coming. That she was quite clearly going to be her mother-in-law quite soon.
I mean, I think every interaction that she has with Rhaenyra has to be fraught with guilt, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I'll go on the record. I think that Alicent was genuine in wanting and being Rhaenyra's friend and them growing up together. I think she was placed very calculatingly by Otto to be her friend in the first place. Like, I don't think that it was an accident that they were pushed together, but I think that they were genuine friends. And Rhaenyra is going to think that it was not genuine, though.
That is over. She no longer thinks it's genuine. She thinks she just got used, like 100%.
Yeah,
Also,
and like she did get used, but it can also be genuine and you can get used by someone at the same time.
that's the plot of the movie Spy Game starring Brad Pitt. So, there you go.
Oh.
You're welcome, everybody, with Robert Redford. Yep. I win the second poll, 80-20. Alicent knew about the marriage for the small council scene. In your face, Ashaya. Get wrecked.
You turned to me for that one too, but no, I feel.
I'm just saying get wrecked, though. That's... what else was in the episode? Let's go through this.
Yeah.
Tough reading my own writing. Okay, so let's go to Lena. Let's specifically talk about Lena. We talked about her in terms of the marriage thing. That I thought this was unironically pretty funny. Because not only is Lena not interested in Viserys, she's only interested in Vhagar. She's like, tell me about Vhagar. Where's Vhagar? What's Vhagar like? Tell me about Balerion.
Yeah,
it's like, I guess I have to get married to you, but you have better dragon knowledge, so why don't you tell me? It was like a little Sanrixian on the screen. Like, if she had the opportunity to talk to a Targaryen at that time, this is what she would be doing. So, like, what's the nesting habits of Vhagar? How big is she? All this other kind of stuff. I thought that was a pretty interesting character point to give to her.
Yeah, she's a little dragon nerd. No, I mean they just emphasize this is a 12-year-old girl. She just, she's that's what she's interested in is pets. She's like like a horse girl, a dragon girl. That's
girl.
What that's what she is. And she was so cute, but like but you look at her next to Viserys and it's just laughable. Like it's just ludicrous to see the two of them. They really did a good job casting this tiny little precious girl. You're like, I don't want them to get married. Please no.
But she's also this tiny precious little girl who's dressed up in this very fancy gown, and her hair looks like perfect for what she's doing. And she's also just like, can I have a dragon, please? not you, Viserys. No, the other one. I want Vhagar. He's the cool. Vhagar's the cool dragon, not you.
I like the idea that Elena has like a list of like which dragon she most wants. Like she wants Vhagar, but also these dragons are really cool, and she just like knows all the lore about them. I would love to see more conversations with Lena where she just gushes about dragons.
Apparently, that's her number one thing. Like, I think that's also really interesting compared to Alicent, where Alicent and Viserys really have nothing in common. Like, it is just manipulation, but quite clearly, Lena has, like, she's like, I want to be a dragon rider. Tell me about Valyria. Tell me about, like, what it's like being you. What was it like being on Balerion the Black Dread? And Alicent's like, Yes, sire. Yes,
Yeah.
that is very funny.
That is a good point. That like Viserys has more in common with a 12-year-old girl than
Yeah, unfortunately.
just wants to play with toys. But no, yeah, I said it already. I think that they're really emphasizing that he made a bad political play by marrying Alicent Hightower.
Oh, very much so. And I think the other thing that was really funny about this scene, and it's not like, it's kind of like a tragic funny, but it's also like Viserys is like, oh, she's 12, she's too old. It's like, how old's Alicent again? I don't think she's much older than Lena.
Yeah, my impression is that Alicent is like 16 to 18 years old, and the same
Yeah.
is true for Rhaenyra. That they're within about 16 to 18.
It's like it's probably like 3 to 4 years or something like that. And he's like, ugh, this one child bride, too young. The other one, all right, that's an acceptable
Yeah.
age for me. It's like, all right, man. I think
I mean, I don't know. You look at the two of them. You look at Lena and you listen to Lena. She's just a child, and you talk to Alicent, and she's behaving like a woman. She's
True.
behaving like a wife and someone who like, she is. She acts very mature for her age, as they say. But no, she is. It's more than just like their actual age. It's how they're portraying
although that is the only thing
themselves.
Viserys brought up. He's like, oh, she's too
Yeah.
young. Also,
he didn't
call back to Game of Thrones with what's his name, the guy that Arya killed, the Kingsguard, where he was going through the brothel in Bravos, and he's like too young or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I see Kartik Prab who says Rhaenyra is 15. Of course, Viserys says that in this episode, and so
Okay, so it's not that far.
Alicent is maybe also 15, but Alicent is also maybe she's 17. Maybe she's is still a couple years older than Rhaenyra. We don't know for sure.
It's gonna be
but
tough.
It does speak to why they didn't necessarily push the Laenor marriage. Again, they're pushing other young girls, but it's not like Rhaenyra is an 18-year-old girl who doesn't have a betrothed.
Marin
She's
Trant,
15.
sorry, in the chat, Marin
yeah.
Trant, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a question here from Happy Masquerader, $5 with his Matt Smith in the. Actually, I love that artwork from Alice Zhang, I think it is. I actually have 2 pieces of artwork in my room here. Too old. Marin Trant said too old. I'm sorry, wrong one. He was going for the young ones. So I guess inverse Marin Trant.
Yes.
Is it possible that Corlys also instructed Laenor to inquire about Vhagar so they could attempt to claim Vhagar? Sounded like corporate espionage to me. I don't think so, because that sounded pretty genuine from Laena. And the other stuff she was told to say, like the actress made it sounded more scripted, and then she just started going like, "Tell me about Vhagar, everything about Vhagar."
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they could just find that information out without talking to Viserys about it, right? Like I feel like that information would just be Corlys could just and Rhaenys could find that, perhaps.
Find a maester, tell us about Vhagar. Although she did know something about him already. She'd heard about about her. Vhagar's a she-dragon, right?
I always say they.
Yeah, they
for
call
all
her the
dragons,
hoary old-
unless
Yeah.
the hoary old bitch.
So yeah,
But,
it's a female dragon.
Yeah. I tend to just go with the they non-binary dragon unless they specifically had an egg, and then I'm like, okay, I guess you could be a girl.
Changeable as flame, as they say. The other thing I found really interesting about that conversation, did you catch that apparently Viserys hated the Black Dread?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got that impression that he wasn't super pro dragon when he had that conversation with Rhaenyra at the end of the last episode, right? When he's like, the dragons are dangerous and all that, and I thought it was a little strange because, if they're trying to defend themselves from something from the north, they might have thought the dragons were significant, but I guess I wonder if he was scared of his dragon, or I wonder if there's, we see how eventually we're going to see how Vhagar is kind of deteriorated, I wonder if Balerion had deteriorated to a certain point to where Viserys just felt uncomfortable.
Dragon dementia?
Yeah, there might be something like that. I could see that there might be things to do with Balerion being very old that made Balerion particularly unnerving to Viserys, perhaps.
He specifically said in the episode that he would rather face the Black Dread than do something. I forgot what the first sentiment was. I was like, you were scared to face your own dragon? Like what?
Yeah, I like the idea of there being some sort of dragon dementia type thing, or especially because again, I really like the idea that Viserys was dreaming through Balerion's eyes. So if Viserys was seeing weird things through Balerion's eyes, maybe that would go further to making him uncomfortable.
This kind of strange. I don't think I've ever heard of a dragon rider in A Song of Ice and Fire that did not like or was scared of their dragon. That's a first for me.
Yeah.
I guess Daenerys. Was Daenerys ever scared of her dragons? I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know how was there. Yeah, I can't think of a moment where Dany felt concerned that her dragons would do anything to her.
Yeah. This is a very strange one. I'm kind of curious, especially because he apparently stripped the skull of Balerion and prays to it, but he was terrified of the thing. It's I guess that kind of goes in what you were talking about, the idea that he loves and fears the Freehold.
Well, would Viserys have done that? Like when Balerion died?
Oh, you think it was Jaehaerys?
Yeah, like was it Jaehaerys that did it? You know, yeah, that would be my question. Is I don't think Balerion died well before Viserys was even king. So I don't. I think maybe they just did it because that's the oldest dragon. So of course you do that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I think Balerion died
but they're playing with so many ages.
Yeah.
I don't really know when it happened.
Yeah, that's true. It could have but my impression was that Balerion died. I guess in the books, Balerion had died before the Great Council,
he died
even,
before
and
the
so
Great Council.
whether Viserys was a dragon rider at the Great Council, I don't know. I guess in the show, to be clear, because they could have easily changed it so that he was also a dragon rider. Because I felt that if you were comparing two candidates for the throne, and one was Rhaenys, who was a dragon rider, and one does not have a dragon. It seems like a point. It seems like a point against Viserys, but again, Balerion died in 94 AC.
So 7 years before.
7 years before but again, it's easy for them to change something like that if they wanted Balerion to die
later.
Later, that's easy enough. But the point still, I still think it's likely that Balerion died while Jaehaerys was king. Still.
Also, a super chat from Sanrixian. Hey, Mallory. Dragon Girl time, apparently, for her. We're saying all the things she wants to hear. $2. Thank you very much. Viserys was scared of Balerion, a metaphor. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we were getting at. There's very much a metaphorical idea that Viserys is scared of the dreams. He's scared of the dragons. He's kind of scared of himself. Like, he doesn't want to use his power. And that's what Daemon keeps telling him. He's like, be the dragon, you know, everyone's feeding off of you. They're leeching off you. You're weak. And even in this episode, Rhaenyra showed him that, actually, he let himself be cowed by Otto not to go to Dragonstone to face Daemon, but Rhaenyra wouldn't let that. And it's kind of, I think it's a pretty good metaphor about kind of the way he's been as king. He's afraid, he doesn't want to be it, and he's afraid of his power.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think there's generally constantly when we deal with them talking about dragons, there's going to be a metaphor for the human dragons of Targaryens. Like, again, when I brought up the little dragon statue that Alicent had fixed, like the idea that they when they are referencing it that hard, that there's another level there, another layer.
Woke a dragon from stone.
Yeah.
Zora High coming in hot.
Yeah, basically. Essentially.
What was the other one? We talked about this at the beginning, but I love Daemon really poking, like, actually just shit posting from Dragonstone, like using ravens specifically just to piss people off. You don't see that kind of dedication elsewhere in Westeros. Like, people take ravens pretty seriously, and Daemon's just using it to throw middle fingers at everybody. Also, apparently, that he just lied about everything. Like, like, that was crazy.
Oh, absolutely. That underlines your idea of him trolling and just trying to needle at them and poke at them. He's like, I've just been sitting here sulking for 6 months and no one's come to do anything to deal with this. I gotta poke the dragon. That's basically what he did. He threw like a little tantrum.
He's like, I've been pouting on this island and nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, that's basically what he did right there.
Somebody pay attention to my man pain, please. Yeah. Also, Mysara literally calls him out on that. Like, you're putting my life in danger for your stupid petty bullshit, Daemon. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Good for her for standing up for herself and saying something about that, because she's absolutely right that nothing would happen to Daemon potentially right there, and she would just get killed. So, yeah, he should be more careful.
It was kind of interesting to see him be that naive. where he was just like, what? Nothing would happen to you. I'm Daemon Targaryen. Like, if they attack you, like, they're gonna, like, I'm gonna go and burn them up. And she was explicitly saying, no, you won't. And yes, they will hurt me.
Yeah, I guess, he is naive. I wouldn't normally use that word for him, but I think he is, like, or if not naive, he's, what would be the word for that? He's confident. Arrogant, confident. He doesn't have doubt or fear in his mind, so he doesn't consider that someone else should be afraid, really. Kind of like that.
Guilty Undertaker in the chat says, are people ignoring me? Me? Yeah, the main character of this story? How could anyone I think it's also very much like Aerion Brightflame, in the sense, there's the conversation at the end of the Hedge Knight where Maekar and Dunk are talking about the difference between Aerion and Egg, and he's like, he's a prince of the Targaryen house. He eats raw meat with blood. He stays in castles. He doesn't sleep in hedges. And Dunk is like, well, maybe he should. And that may be kind of what we're supposed to get from Daemon here, that he has lived so far above everybody else that he really doesn't understand, even as he's going through King's Landing and beating the shit out of people, he doesn't even understand the people he's trying to rule.
Yeah, I see here in the chat multiple people say privilege. That is the word that I was looking for. He's privileged, and that's why he doesn't feel fear or think about the fact that other people feel fear.
Oh, it's silly hat time. Hang on a second.
Oh, is it? I don't have a cat anymore.
Boom.
There we go. I got a Pikachu hat. That's a hat, right? That works. If I can just attach it. There we go. I'll just do the whole thing with Pikachu on my head. I don't have a cat in my arm's reach.
I think that counts. I think that's a good job on the silly hat there.
Yeah. Aziz has a cat in his lap that I can't take. I'm like, I wish I could have just attached Pikachu.
It's okay. I think you covered it. I got my Gurm hat on. We're good to go.
Oh, there we go. I did it. Look at that.
Somebody screenshot this, please. Put it on Twitter.
No.
You guys only had a few seconds. You're gonna have to rewind to get that special moment.
I know, right? I'm like, I really want to keep my Pikachu. I'm using the headphones to kind of like put Pikachu's feet. And there we go. That's perfect. That'll stay.
The rest of the stream,
now.
This is what's happening. She's just this is unironically, with the stuff behind me, a pretty high percentage of the Pokemon stream. Got Bulbasaur there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Flareon's down there. You can't see him. Dragonite is actually up here, but you can't see him because I cut off my camera. So Aziz does not hand over cats. Aziz pets cats, and he gives them the bongos.
Oh, come here, Nova. Come to me. Stay away from Aziz. No, Cat was just eyeing me in the lap. Oh well, no cat. I have the Pokemon. That's almost as good as a cat.
Perfect. I also love. I wrote down the conversation between Rhaenyra and Daemon. Well, I had to because I was translating it from French. So.
Oh yeah, you had to. That's of course. That's so funny.
This is why you don't pirate things, kids.
Yeah, sometimes they have French subtitles for the Valyrian and for other parts.
Okay, where did I put this? Okay, here we go. So these are the lines that they were saying in High Valyrian. She comes up, he says, my father made me princess of Dragonstone. This is my house. This is my house you're in. Daemon responds and says, it will be yours at your majority. And then Rhaenyra comes back with, you are angry at your king. And Daemon goes, what, me mad? He says, what am I angry with? Angry about? Tomorrow I'm being married. And then Rhaenyra comes back and says, she says, oh, you're getting a second wife? You already have one. And so because you're mad, then you have to steal my brother's egg. And then Daemon comes back and says, a dragon shared your cradle, same for mine. And then Rhaenyra puts up the skeptical eyebrows and says, you're a father? And then Daemon says, one day.
Yeah, one day. Which that was also very interesting that Daemon actively really wants Daemon actively really wants to be a father, and Miseria actively does not want to be a mother, and clearly he doesn't really want to have a child with his Royce wife.
His
not good enough
bronze
for him.
B word, as he says.
Yeah, that's interesting. You might think that he's maybe like a bit of a snob and wants Valyrian babies, but clearly he's willing to have one with Miseria, and she doesn't even know where she's from. So he just really doesn't like Rhea Royce.
I hope for high comedy she's actually like a really nice person, and if we ever see her on screen, she's just like actually quite attractive and she's a good person, and Daemon just for some reason hates her. Although we know why. It's because I left out one of the comments. He said that not his wife by choice. It would be
it might just be that he just didn't get to choose. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Also, hey AK, Alicia Kingston in the chat. Good to see you here.
Hello.
Showing up out of nowhere. I did think it was the argument was it was the most grown up Rhaenyra has been in the episode, where she just throws Daemon's shit back in his face and then challenges him to kill her, because obviously the problem is that she's the heir and he's not. And then stood her ground, even though Caraxes is right there eyeing her. She's like, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of Caraxes. Give me back the egg and get out of here. And Daemon totally backs down. Although, what'd you make of his look at her after she says that, where she says, kill me, this will solve your problems, and Daemon just kind of cocks his eye at her and just kind of stares for 5 seconds. What do you think he was doing there?
I think he really was considering the idea. What if this played out that way? I think he was considering what would happen if he did that. Like I don't think there's a world in which he ever would have done that, but he still considered it. Like, well, are you right there?
I wonder if he was like, I don't want to kill my future wife that I'm totally grooming.
I don't know how much he's truly like planning it like that clearly. Like he is doing that, but I don't know if he's really calculatingly, cunningly like plotting for that. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like maybe it's crossed his mind, the idea of that. How could it not have crossed his mind, the idea that they would do that? But I don't know that I think he's really been planning for it. I guess I don't really see him as being that calculating and cunning. I kind of see him as being more impetuous and impatient, and like he just does a thing and he just writes a letter off to like bring them over. Like I don't know that he's thought 10 years down the road.
That's true. Also in the chat, AK and Jess B say that he respected the hell out of her and he was impressed by that. And you know what? Maybe that's the moment he fell in love. He's like, he looks like he's about to kill her, but he's actually thinking, I'm going to marry that 15-year-old.
God, that's terrible. But no, that might honestly have been what he thought. He might have looked at her and been like, oh, she's worthy.
She's a dragon.
And that might be the moment where he like really starts to put serious thought into like, I'm going to try to cultivate this. And so then we're going to see him making more deliberate eyes at her.
Cultivate is a word for that, I suppose. Yes.
Yeah, cultivate.
He also didn't leave Dragonstone. He just stayed there. He just gave the egg back, and I guess that was the whole point. I also loved that he knows Viserys so well that he knew that his letter would be it would get him so angry he would personally come to Dragonstone. And Daemon's like, where's the king? It's like, because I know this, what I wrote was just so trolly he would not resist coming here to show me up.
Yeah.
I'm also curious how they knew he stole a dragon egg. Like, did he... the dragon keepers from the volcano?
I'm guessing that Daemon came to maybe they were at the dragon pit, or maybe it was on Dragonstone, but maybe he left and like went and did the thing, and he showed up there, and the dragon keepers were like, what are you doing? And he said, I'm Prince Daemon, I'm taking this dragon egg, goodbye. And they couldn't do anything because that's who that is. But I'm guessing he didn't do it secretly. He just came in and took it.
Yeah, Daemon doesn't do anything secret.
But see, the other thing that I think is interesting is that I think there must have been a cut scene then, because think about how we saw we saw the stills of the preview for the episode. We saw Daemon like holding, and like, we saw multiple shots of him seeming like that's the scene of him collecting a dragon egg.
The sticky egg, the one that's
the sticky egg. So I think we just got a scene cut of him collecting that egg potentially, but maybe he interacts with an egg again later. But it doesn't seem like that would be the case.
Unless those are eggs for future kids.
Yeah.
What if that's
I would be interested in his what's his hair length there if we compare his hair. That's how they orient it. I don't remember if Daemon had short hair, medium hair, or long hair in that scene.
He had long hair from what I remember from the still. When he reached into the egg goo. It did look like he was wearing the same thing. I think I in the trailer or the teaser analysis, I think I said it looked the same, but then again, apparently I can't tell when his wig is long or short or medium, I guess. I would wonder if that ends up being Bela or Rhaena, or even in the far future Aegon. Like the other Aegon.
Yeah.
Although no, they probably end the season with them getting married. Spoiler alert, I guess. So I would.
No, I don't think so. I think
they do have the marriage scene. We've seen it with the blood stuff, so it does happen at some point.
Yeah, it happens. So I think we'll have seen. I think Rhaenyra will have had her children at the point and they'll be fairly grown at that point.
I don't think Daemon would go in there and get eggs for the strong boys, but he might for his own.
Yeah. He wouldn't go for her kids, her first marriage children at all. But no, he would, want to get one for his daughters. So that's an opportunity. There's a couple chances, but I would say my call right now is that I think that perhaps that was a cut scene.
Which is a shame, because that looked like a really cool scene with the dragon roaring and Daemon has the torch and he's going by and grabbing it and running out like Indiana Jones in a volcano. That's a really cool scene. I would leave that in.
Yeah. I guess they just didn't want to cut anything else, but like they had a little extra time. This episode wasn't that long. It was, on the, medium short end. What was it? 56 minutes, 54 minutes, something like that.
And
but it wasn't an hour.
There were a couple things they could have cut. Like what did they linger on quite a bit? The Rhaenys and Rhaenyra scene went on for a little bit longer than I thought it would, and they also they had a couple of shots of Rhaenys just sort of like haunting the castle, just sort of walking around and staring at things. It was like, I don't know. I think if that's not literally from a different point in the story, I would have rather had Daemon in Dragonmont than Rhaenys haunting the Red Keep, or they could have cut down some other stuff.
Yeah, I think that sometimes it's a matter of like, well, they have to cut 5 things down for one scene, or just leave the 5 scenes and cut one scene out. Sometimes it's maybe that difference, because it isn't just the rainy stuff they'd have to cut down.
That's true.
They have to take slivers off of maybe like
Lena.
All the scene. Yeah, there's like a bunch of things they might have had to cut from, and I don't know what they would prioritize, but I would rather have seen an extended scene with Viserys and Lena than Daemon going to take the dragon egg. So I would have made the same call if it was between the Lena scene and Daemon.
I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that that's for a different set of kids. Mm-hmm. That after he ends up marrying somebody else, that he just goes and gets them dragon eggs. Although I don't actually know if Bela and Rhaena's Mallory, you're in the chat. Are Bela and Rhaena's eggs newly hatched, or do they take existing dragons?
Well, Rhaena specifically takes a bunch of eggs with her when she goes to the Vale. Like that's part of her thing, is like trying to hatch dragons. So like definitely dragon eggs will be very relevant for those two girls.
It'll be funny if he's stealing them for her.
Yeah.
Dad, I need some dragon eggs. Can you go into the Dragonmont for me? All right, cool. I'll be back.
Yeah, Sanrixian does have the good point that the CGI for those shots that we saw in the trailer of him with the dragons is finished, so that would make it weirder for them to cut that with the amount of money. Yeah. Expensive, not unprecedented, not impossible, but less likely, perhaps.
That's true. Let's see here. What else we got here?
Yeah,
anything on your mind, or anything in the chat, you guys?
I guess. Well, actually, I have two. I have two thoughts about the dragon egg thing.
Okay.
When I think about it, the egg he took was like a sticky, messy looking egg, right? And like, but the egg he had it was all cleaned up when he had it, and it was taken out to be given to Prince Balon already. So would that egg have really still been like a wild looking dragon egg? You know, like
That was a very clean looking egg.
Yeah, it makes sense to clean it up, but also, like, if he was taking the egg that was meant for Prince Balon, then maybe that egg wouldn't have been so messy after. So maybe it does point to it being another dragon egg claiming scene later. Perhaps.
That's true. That could be what's going on. I think the grossest thing in the episode, other than the crab feeder, was definitely the hand and maggots. Like, what the hell? I think that this makes me wonder again about the thing that we talked about on your stream yesterday about if Melos is a bad healer or an intentionally bad healer. Everyone in that room seemed to think the maggots was a bad idea. Otto literally looks at it and goes like, "What are you doing?"
That's a real thing that still happens today. It's a real scientific technology. No, they didn't like it, but I don't know that I don't know that was him being a bad healer right there. You know, just because that is real science that people do that. So whether he just kind of like everyone, if you make 100 guesses, you'll get right 1 or 2 times. Like it might just be like he happened to get something right, but yeah, I think that to me that wasn't an example of him being an inferior maester.
Although the setting of the scene told you he was, even if it's not literally true. Like when you have Otto Hightower giving him the side eye about what he's doing, and also, we already talked about Melos versus Otto. Dissension in the ranks. I think my other favorite council scene was when Corlys comes in shouting and he's like, "What about my ships? What about my men?" And Lord Beesbury speaks up, and Corlys actually turns his head to speak at him. Like Beesbury's like, "Whoa, hey, come on, man. I'm just talking here. Don't take it out on me." It was like, I wonder if that's kind of Beesbury's life, that he's used to people not really listening to him, and he's just kind of like adding accounting facts, and he's not like, nobody really challenges him on anything.
I like it that Master of Coin is the one that goes, "It would be incalculable." It's like
what's your job, man?
Yeah, you should be able to calculate the cost of this.
Also, they end up cutting off Viserys' fingers anyway.
Yes.
So
they sure do.
He must also have the thing on his back, so he's got 2 open wounds at the same time, or unless they cauterize it. So I guess only 1.
Yeah. But yeah, it does speak to, like, I know they're saying that, it's the bad humors, it's the stress, it's all that, but like realistically, like,
is it his one good call?
Would that happen if someone cut themselves on a random sword on the Iron Throne? Is that a normal thing to happen to someone? Like, I know you can get like tetanus and stuff like that from metal. Like, maybe that's just normal, but I think it's very weird that it's that bad for him. But I don't know. But I don't think anyone has any reason to try to take Viserys out. You know, so I don't think there's any reason to really assume any type of nefarious things are going on.
Also, Mallory tells us that Bela claimed Moondancer.
Sure did.
Okay, so maybe not her egg.
Yeah, but still, Rhaena prayed over multiple eggs, and so I mean, he would have wanted that. Yeah. Although, I mean, she claimed Moondancer, but I guess I would be curious, like, I see that Moondancer wasn't large enough to carry a 13-year-old in 129, which makes it seem like she's a pretty young dragon.
Yeah.
Like, that seems very young, or like she's very slow. That makes it seem like Bela did hatch her dragon to me. Like, she claimed it, but that the fact that at 13 years old, Bela could not ride her dragon, but a year later, that makes me think that she hatched her dragon when she was like, 10, early, because Dany could ride Drogon pretty quickly.
True, but then Drogon was allowed to go out and eat whatever he wanted.
Yeah, Moondancer could be a runt of the litter, just a smaller dragon as well. Like, just like we're seeing the variety, we could also just see that some dragons are small.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna find out more about the dragons, I guess. We haven't even seen Meleys yet. Vhagar was name dropped but did not show up. Sea Smoke is off screen, so quite a lot of dragons left to go. I think they said they're going to put 9 in this season. Was that the number? Something like that?
Oh, yeah. Was it something like that? And then like 17 total. But
Yeah.
yeah, we wouldn't see all of them in season 1. Yeah, something like that. But I don't remember exactly. I remember the 17 digit, but not the one for this season.
Ooh, Mallory's saying... Oh, sorry. Moondancer was born in 128 AC, so a very new dragon. So quite possible that that Bela did hatch it.
Yeah, but not a cradle egg, like not hatched that young. Like, it took her a while to hatch it, and whether I tend to think that was Bela's egg that hatched and then was her dragon, but it has to be possible that a dragon hatched and then Bela claimed that young dragon, and it wasn't actually ever her cradle egg or her egg as a young child, you know?
Curtis Frank saying he saw a lot of sea smoke on screen in this episode. Oh, that is an Aziz level pun if I ever saw it. The mist over Dragonstone.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy. I was watching that, and I knew it was going to be Rhaenyra coming out because we'd seen the preview thing. I was like, she is coming in real low through that mist. Like, if this was like Looney Tunes, she was going to hit that thing and just like slide slowly down it. Like, that was a dangerous move from her.
I know. I was just picturing like just a slight incalculation or like something just goes a little wrong, and she just takes everyone out just on accident. It's like, whoops, sorry, didn't mean to just claw 5 of your men off the bridge.
Like, they literally splat into it. Like, Rhaenyra dies, and Daemon goes like, I don't know, air for 6 months, toasts himself. I'm air again, guys. Let's do this.
I had that thought when they cut away when Rhaenyra had to get off of her dragon and onto the wall. You know, I was like, how is this gonna work? Like, how is she gonna
Did she
shimmy
walk down the
down?
dragon?
Yeah, I was picturing like the idea of like she tries to get down and she just like stumbles and falls off.
That's what
to
I would
her
do.
doom.
I guess she's practiced, though. I mean, they established in the first episode that she rides Cyrax quite often.
Yeah, we saw her get down, off the dragon. It was just such tight quarters there for her to shimmy down.
Very much so. And also broke the thing when it landed. Apparently, they've repaired that by the time we got to Jon Snow and Davos. I did not see that damage on Dragonstone then. Like, dragon damage must suck. Like, the upkeep on that.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably people that manage Dragonstone are like, come on, you could have landed on a rock. You didn't have to land on the wall.
Also in that scene, I also love seeing Otto finally unleash what he actually thinks about Daemon, where he just starts shouting at him. He's basically calling him a shithead. He's really laying it out, and he's been so controlled up to this point. Even when Daemon provoked him about his late wife, he didn't actually say anything. He just kind of stood up and glared at him. This time, he's like, I'm not holding back, man. I'm coming at you. And then he's like, oh yeah, you have Caraxes.
No.
Shit.
I don't know how he didn't, what did he think?
I don't know what he was trying to do. What was his plan? Why did he go?
Yeah. I think he just thought, okay, I'm not gonna die, but I'm gonna make this relationship blow up. Like he
worse?
maybe thought, he's like, I'm just gonna poke at this and make this situation devolve, because he was confident enough that Daemon wouldn't be foolish enough to just kill him. That's what it was. I think he was definitely gambling that
I think he was trying to get Daemon to do it, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. It seems like he's trying to get Daemon to do something that'll get Daemon in more trouble. But it seems like if you're trying to instigate Daemon, maybe you don't go to the front of the group and
let
be
Kristen
the one
Cole go first.
Yeah, exactly. And because if Otto wasn't there, Daemon might have escalated it, there's like a sweet spot that he might have found where Daemon would feel powerful enough to lash out, but clearly that did not work out.
I don't want to think about Daemon's sweet spot, okay? Gonna leave that one alone there. I also enjoyed that they pulled the joke from Dickon Tarley, where they called him Crispin Cole. Yeah,
Crispin Cole, yes.
I'm never calling him Crispin again. He is Crispin. Crispin the Crispy.
Kristen had a good snap back at him, though, instantly.
Ooh, yeah.
He was pretty quick on his feet. He's like, you knew who I was when I knocked you off your horse. I was like, good for you, Kristen.
Daemon actually respected the shit talk coming back. He's like, all right, yeah, you got it, kid.
Yeah, yes.
Apparently the only people he respects are those that troll as hard as he does. And Daemon just trolls all the time. He's literally just a kid posting angry memes on Twitter, except they happen to go to the king. Let's see here. What else we got?
I I liked how Viserys his response to Corlys. He's like, "Oh, what an aspirant picture of my reign you've painted."
Yeah,
and
he's
Rhaenys
like,
"Yeah, it's accurate though." Yeah, right. Viserys is trying to like laugh it all off, and
You're
Corlys
not
like,
saying
"No,
I'm a
man."
bad king, right? Hey!
And they're like, "Yeah, that is what we're saying. Actually, you got us exactly right."
Rhaenys just comes back and says, accurate, sir.
Yeah.
My liege, you suck at this. I thought that was a really good character moment for Viserys because it really does show how he really does feel bullied by everyone in his life, and he doesn't know what to do about it. And it's not even that he doesn't have Balerion anymore. It's just a personal problem. Everything Daemon said in front of him in the throne continues to come true. I mean, I agree with Corlys and Rhaenys that the marriage pact should be with the Velaryons for the safety of the realm, but it's also not true that Rhaenys and Corlys just bullied him into almost marrying their 12-year-old daughter by threatening to withhold ships, basically.
Yeah. I'd say
Leeches
I
on
agree
him.
with that. Yeah. I think there's like a strong theme throughout the episode of people feeling small because of other people. Because you see Rhaenyra feels that way despite
Ooh.
her roles. Rhaenyra feels that way. Viserys feels that way. Daemon feels that way. Corlys feels that way. Alice, everyone in this episode feels small despite having their own power over other people. Like they feel small and they make other people feel small.
I actually, I just remembered something I wanted to say. How Viserys treated Rhaenyra is exactly how he treats Daemon. He did the exact same things to her in this episode that Daemon complained about. Rhaenyra tries to speak up in the small council, and he basically tells her to go do her homework. And also the scene where she's leaving is identical to the one where Daemon leaves after being dismissed after the chopping off of all the limbs. Like, almost exactly to a T. It's night. The lighting is night versus day, but the framing's exactly the same. Also, Rhaenyra is also making the same claim that Daemon did, where she's like, when he scolds her, like, I didn't give you permission. The crown didn't say go to Dragonstone. I didn't say bring a dragon. And she basically says back, like, I got it done. I protected you. I helped you. I did what Otto couldn't, which is exactly the same thing Daemon said he would do for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Viserys does not really do much for his heirs.
No.
Like, he just doesn't really seem to do, we still have, like, I thought maybe we would have started to see Rhaenyra having lessons, practicing statecraft, some scenes of that, and we're seeing her make decisions. We saw her name the Kingsguard, but we haven't really seen that he's trying to prepare her to be queen.
No. Even the dinner scene where it's like, all right, we'll finally talk about this. And then they don't talk about the fact that Emma's dead. And then Rhaenyra brings up the thing about the Kingsguard. And he like gives her a little pat on the head, like, good job, Rhaenyra. You did the stupid grunt work I didn't want to do. And then she tries to bring up the thing in the small council. And he just goes like, you'll learn. And it's like, when?
Yeah, when? Like, we're supposed to be talking this out right now. I'm trying to tell you that, yeah, exactly. It was, he was not listening to her at all.
If he's going to teach, he has to actually teach. You can't correct. You have to also show her what you're expecting her to do. And Rhaenys instead was her teacher this episode. Rhaenys was the one actually being like, I'll show you how to be queen by pissing you off.
Yeah, you're right. She did guide Rhaenyra more in that scene than Viserys really has at all episode. that we've seen on camera, at least.
And she also did, I mean, this is the thing, I was confused by this at first, but after watching it the second time, I was like, oh, this makes sense now. Rhaenyra's like, oh, you're just trying to make me angry. And Rhaenys kind of looks back at her and says like, no, that's not what I'm doing. And she's exactly right. She was treating her as the future heir. She was treating her as a future monarch instead of as the little girl that Viserys does.
Yeah, she's doing what she wanted of not treating her like a little girl and not coddling her. Exactly. She's doing what Rhaenyra said she wanted from her father
It's
there.
almost like Rhaenys would have been the better monarch, and it was a huge mistake to put Viserys on the throne.
Yeah. It's almost like she should have been the queen who should have been.
Yeah,
the queen who was. I wish. Everyone's... Yeah. Absolutely.
I also find it interesting that Rhaenys is accurately calling there's a civil war coming. Like, she has no bones about it. She's like, there will be a civil war if you ever try and take the throne.
Yeah, I think she's seeing it, and I mean, she's even saying, like, if Lena marries Viserys and they have kids together, my grandkids are going to be against you. Like, that's also what she's like, because at that point that she says that, she thinks that she might, her grandkids might be these future heirs that are going to disinherit Rhaenyra. So she's saying, hey, look, my grandson's going to come ahead of you. Of course, it doesn't work out for Rhaenys, but that's what she's thinking, I think.
That's the plan there. Even more than Alicent, any more than anyone in her life. Yeah, Rhaenys was at least being real with her about the state of her life. Nobody else was. Everyone else was playing her. Rhaenys was also playing her, but at least she was using the truth to do it.
Yeah.
Way to go, Rhaenys. I continue to think she's awesome. As much as I said, they could have cut down the scene, I still really like her as a character. What they're doing, and Eve Best is playing it perfectly.
Yes, she is. She's got so much, like, sass and personality in every look that she gives to someone. Definitely.
The look she gives Corlys every time, like, we are the perfect couple. We are the power couple. Every single time, it's their chemistry is really good. And actually, have you seen in interviews too? Like, they actually do have great chemistry. Stephen Toussaint and Eve Best. It's kind of
even Steve.
Yeah, Steven. No.
Yeah, Aziz is calling him even Steven.
Estefan.
Estefan, yes. We were appreciating that it's even Steven and Emily for Emma for Emily and Millie. Yeah, even Steven, Emily. But I'm really sad to lose our young Alicent and young Rhaenyra. I really like their acting. I'm gonna be bummed to not have Millie Alcock anymore. I have to say already. Like, I know we got episodes to go with them, but I'm already like, no, keep young Rhaenyra.
I wonder if they'll plan for future seasons to have them come back as flashbacks like they do with The Crown.
Yeah. See, I would really love it. I kind of feel like they won't, but I personally am rooting for it and think that it just would make sense. It would be cool, especially if they're like, these young versions of them are really popular. They might be more likely to do it. But no, I feel like there might be a reason why they would want to, at some point, give a little flashback to some moment. It's, I can't think of what scene I think that they would need to flash back to, but I would be on board with that.
I would like to see it too. Also, a super chat here from Maura Lee coming through in the clutch again. Thanks, Maura. Goes back to what Daemon stated, that was the dragons that made us kings, that it takes dragons in order to make folks fear them and not just their ability to rule. That's a really good point. Yeah, Viserys, I think that's one of the ironies of Viserys. He had Balerion the Black Dread, and he apparently has been kind of a fail king the entire time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we don't see people who have tamed multiple dragons, and so you might think, oh, well, Viserys is the king. Why didn't he do that? Well, we're seeing why he didn't try to tame a second dragon if it's possible.
He's barely scared of them.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is something that you wonder, that if you lose your dragon pretty early in life, why you might not, and if it's possible for you to even tame another dragon. I feel like it's possible to have two dragons. I think if your dragon dies and you decide to tame a second dragon, you could. I don't think you're just like, they smell you. They're like, you were claimed by someone already.
You smell like Balerion. No way.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that. I think that if he had chosen to tame someone else, he could have.
Or like you ride one dragon and you go to see the other one and it smells the other dragon on you and it gets all pissed off. Perfect. This is the thought process that Sanrixian wants to be thinking about. The dynamics of owning different dragons. Oh yeah, Dany had 3 dragons, but she really only rode Drogon.
Yeah, I see Egg 6 says both Aegon and Rhaenyra believed you could hatch a second. And so, yeah, we just don't see that on screen or on page at any point. Someone going from, it's pretty rare that someone loses their dragon and then continues their life and has a long life after that. Like oftentimes if they lost their dragon, they died too.
Egg 6 asking what dragons smell like. You know what? It's almost like someone made a pretty good short about that today. You guys should check out if you haven't. I answered that very question. Not good is the answer. Not great. I think the only thing we haven't talked about is the ending scene where we finally got to see High Tide. We saw Corlys sitting down with Daemon and hatching their plan for the crab feeder. And I think this scene actually goes to what you're talking about, like that you don't think that Daemon is that schemy, because he really has no idea what Corlys has asked him here for. He's like, what am I even doing here, man? Like, what do you want? It's like, you don't think Corlys Velaryon might have a reason to talk to the Rogue Prince?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really does seem like Daemon does not have a clue about what's going on, like what Corlys has planned. You're right.
And to go through the scene, basically Corlys makes this whole big speech about how like second sons don't get anything, even though Corlys, you are not a second son. You are the most powerful High Lord in Westeros.
His house is the second son to House Targaryen.
I guess
you know,
so.
Is what
It's
he
like,
feels. He's like House Velaryon is second fiddle, despite us feeling like we are more prestigious in actuality, or whatever he's saying about.
it is a tenuous way to relate to Daemon if I've ever heard it.
Yeah. But clearly, I mean, he's doing it specifically trying to relate to Daemon. I don't think it's tenuous on the part of the writers. I think it's tenuous on the part of Corlys trying to reach him.
Yeah, he's like, oh god, I gotta find something to relate to with Daemon. Shit, what do we have in common? We both are ambitious, and Daemon's like, I guess so, kind of.
Daemon's like, I'm not really ambitious in the same way that you're ambitious.
Yeah,
Daemon is like ambitious for praise and like for people to care about who he is, and Corlys wants the actual power.
Daemon's ambitious for Viserys' love, and that's kind of all we've really seen. I also really enjoyed the idea that this entire episode Corlys was complaining about Daemon. He's like, you haven't done shit about Daemon. He's still on Dragonstone. You got to get that creep out of there. Everyone thinks you're weak for not doing it. And he's like, listen, Daemon, I think we're best friends. I think we get each other. If only Daemon could have been hiding in the walls listening to the small council the entire time. But the pitch he makes is kind of interesting. Obviously, we know where this is going. He's pitching Daemon to go down and fight the crab feeder, but it's what he's selling Daemon is really insubstantial for what he's saying. Clearly, Corlys has explained why he wants this. He's losing ships. If he loses his trade routes, he loses his wealth, he loses his power. The Velaryons don't have anything else. He could lose Spicetown and Hull. It all makes sense. What is Corlys? I mean, what is Daemon getting out of this?
Yeah, no, that's why he's like playing it up. He's like, you get prestige, you get respect, you get to show off all that. You know, he's playing up that Daemon isn't really playing up the material things that Daemon is gonna get from it. He's playing up how cool he's gonna look.
Basically,
when he does this. Yeah, he's like, look, man, like we're gonna pull out something.
You.
Yeah, I think that's the right string to pull. I mean, I think it does get him some respect.
I think
it does. It adds to his hype. Everyone's like, you know, I think it works for him.
I think the problem is going to be, they mentioned this early in the episode. Good writing that they did this, where Corlys is talking about, well, we can just go kill pirates. Why would that make war with the Triarchy? Obviously, Corlys knows why, but then Viserys is like, well, who do you think is giving them their ships and their tinder? It's going to be the same thing in reverse. Daemon's not going to get that much respect because clearly the entire court's going to go, well, he's just being played by Corlys. He's clearly playing the rogue prince like a puppet to get him to go down and fight the pirates for him. It's going to make him not look as respectful as he wants. It's going to make him look like a tool.
Yeah, you're right. He might. I think that'll be the case for some people, but for some people will be tricked or will fall for, oh, look at cool Daemon who conquered the Stepstones, and other people will be like, oh, look at how well Corlys played Daemon. So just kind of, you know, like Otto might look at it the way you're saying, but random gold cloak or random person is gonna be like, Daemon's cool, man.
Random gold cloak number 5 in favor, thumbs up guy. There's also kind of the fact that being king of the Stepstones is a terrible title.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's gonna become king of the Stormlands or he's gonna take over the Vale using.
Well, he
Royce.
He hasn't used that as a sweetening pot for Daemon. They
No,
have
not
not
yet.
brought up the idea that they're going to do anything. The basic idea they brought was just
Kill.
Let's stop this and kill them like that. They didn't say anything like let's keep the Stepstones or let's do anything with it. I imagine it just isn't even clear like if Daemon's going to come up with that idea himself. Is someone
Probably
else
not.
going to suggest it to him? You know, like that is not clear yet.
And it also kind of works with Rhaenyra's thing at the beginning. Remember during the Crispin Cole scene where she's like, which one of these men has seen war? Which one of these men has actually been in battle? Well, Daemon's now going to be one of the few in the realm that actually has. He's going to go down and kill pirates for like 10 years. And he's going to come back and be able to point at everyone else in the room and say, have you been to war? Have you been to war? Have you been to war? No, I have. You got
That's
nothing.
true. Yeah, you're right. It absolutely comes back to what Rainier was saying about prizing, actual experience. That I
Not
didn't
being
think about
attorney
that,
night.
but
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That it will
Attract
do
her
that.
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. Rainier, it will do. That's also true. Rainier will be like, "Oh, Damon's battle blooded, nice."
Oh,
You don't like that, so you don't like any way I describe Damon. It's like, I
battle
described
blooded. I don't like that phrase.
Sorry, battle burned, as he's gonna burn everyone as well.
She's just
Battle
got a thing for
blackened. How's
veterans.
that? Yeah. I mean, she kind of takes after, or Danny takes after her in that regard. That they
Oh,
like
true.
a little bit of a bad boy
Yeah.
fighter type person. Yeah, they like a little danger, an edge to their men.
Her Dario. Oh no.
Yeah.
Dario Naharis somehow makes his way into House of the Dragon. Actually, Crab Feeder, with his crazy getup, I sort of
what-
thought like Dark Dario.
Oh yeah, so I have a question. So, do you think that Kragus, that he burned? Is he recovered from the
don't know.
grayscale? I can't really tell. I thought burned at first, but then looking at the closer look at him in this episode, it almost did look like he had recovered from grayscale. But I could also imagine there are other diseases that he could have gotten that are like it might be a third option and not either of those.
I think we talked about this yesterday, where we were not sure if Daemon gave him the burns or not, or me and Robert. I forget which one of us. I've been on so many podcasts lately. They all blend together.
I know. We were wondering if that was after the battle. Clearly, he looked like that going
Before.
into the battle.
He already looks
But
like a nightmare.
Yeah, he already had a nightmare. That's a good description for him. He does look like a nightmare. He's very, very creepy. And so, yeah, he's, lives in Essos. And so he would live, he could have gone near the Rhoyne and he could have gotten grayscale conceivably as a pirate. Like, and someone who travels around could have gotten this terrible disease.
Or maybe, hear me out on this, go with me. Maybe he's like a Batman villain and it's all crab damage on his face. So now he has become the crab. Like some kind of crazy super villain. Like Batman going out into the cave and all the bats came around him. He's like, I fear the crabs. I shall become them.
Oh yeah, I see. Happy Masquerader says that Alt-Shift-X's theory is that Crab
Oh, is
Feeder
that
is
true?
horribly scarred from being fed
He's
on
probably
by
streaming
crabs.
at the same time. So
That's hilarious. That is a funny idea. Let's. I think we should do a poll and say, "Great, is Crab
poll
Feeder grayscale, fire?" If you can do 3 options, add the crabs on. But otherwise, I don't know how many options.
I can
you
add
do, but
options.
Okay, yeah, let's do the 3 options then. Crabs, grayscale, or fire.
crabs,
Does he have crabs?
grayscale, fire. There we go. Poll in the chat if you guys are watching.
Ooh.
Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, that's X6 says Simpsons did it. That's what happens to
Who?
the sea captain, right? He was attacked by something in the sea, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't
never
think
watched
wasn't
much of The
crabs.
Simpsons.
The Simpsons
Crab.
captain.
Pinchy.
It was it.
He just kind of looks ridiculous. He's also wearing like very modern looking high waisted pants with like no shirt on it. And it's like he literally looks like he's out of the WWE. Like I could see that guy being like flying like off the side of a ring and like trying to do a body press on somebody. As he also looks very weird when he's doing the hammering. Like it's like this. It looks like the first time that guy had ever tried to hammer anything. It was a little strange looking. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, sorry.
It's kind of weird that they're making him to be the villain. Like, no redeeming quality of Crab Feeder. He is just a total piece. Just a total piece of shit. Nobody's going to like him. He's going to do horrible things. Actually, his introduction is literally that he feeds people to crabs. So, I don't know how much worse they can get at this point. Like, this is already pretty bad. This is a bad start for the character.
Yeah, that. I wonder. I mean, obviously, we think if we think there's a world in which he was attacked by crabs and now attacks people with crabs, that makes him a little bit more complex to me than he's just attacking people with crabs. I guess. Sorry, it sounds very ludicrous when you say that. That's why he.
I become one with the crabs.
That really is the Batman type, like super villain type of reasoning behind things. Like I was attacked by the crabs and now I will attack you.
That'd be pretty amazing. The other thing that's kind of a little crazy about what's going on with the Crab Feeder is kind of his mask. And again, it really does look like a harpy's mask, like one of the ones from Game of Thrones, one of the harpy's sons, with like the weird little, it looks like a melted version on his face. But I also wonder if they're having him wear it, because I don't remember that from Fire and Blood. He gets like one line anyway, so I guess they're just making it all up. But I wonder if there's that guy in the movie Kingdom of Heaven. There's a king that wears a mask because he has leprosy. King something. Someone in the chat's gonna know this, because everybody in this fandom except me knows Kingdom of Heaven by heart. But Archibald or Baldwin, King Baldwin or something like that. I wonder if they're gonna have, if it's like a play on that. I don't know otherwise why you would introduce somebody that looks so clearly like a comic book villain.
Yeah, I mean, I for me, I'm like, they clearly took the iconography of the Sons of the Harpy mask.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so much like it, and I don't know if they were like, Essos. Like, we want to make people know that this is Essos. Like, what is the reasoning? Like, has he maybe been all the way to Slaver's Bay and he brought something from there? Like, he's a pirate who's traveled far around, so like perhaps it speaks to him being well traveled. But it really looks a lot like that Son of the Harpy mask that I'm like, I don't know how they could have not done it on purpose. Like, it feels deliberate.
I feel like we're gonna get like, again, like a Batman villain thing. He's be like, when I became the crab, I put on the mask. And it was the mask I took from the man who pushed me into the vat of crabs. This is his mask, and that's why I wear it, to remind me of the who I used to be, or something stupid like that. Oh, Baldwin the Fourth. Thank you.
Oh,
King Baldwin the Fourth. That's the only thing I remember from Kingdom of Heaven. The fact that there's a guy wearing a leprosy mask, mostly because it comes up all the time in Crusader Kings. Characters are constantly wearing those masks after they get disfigured, and it's the only time I've actually seen it in media that somebody was wearing it, other than like the Man in the Iron Mask or something. But that wasn't even the reason. All right, so we got the poll going.
I guess the other example I can think of where they wore a mask was that show Peaky Blinders. I think they had like a scarred man who wore a mask, and I guess does the Phantom of the Opera count or something like that?
I guess so.
In terms of the idea of like a scarred person putting on a mask to cover.
I want him to do Phantom of the Opera stuff. Like he just starts singing a ballad in the middle of the war.
Oh man, that would be such an interesting choice if they had in the middle of this war like that. If he just started singing, I would love it. I know a lot of people would absolutely hate that idea though, but that's delightful.
I just want to have some fun, because there's not a lot of fun to be had in the show. It's very serious.
Yes, it is. This episode was a little had less humor than episode 1, I think.
But had ironic humor. The idea of Viserys going like too young, and then the thing about Lena being a dragon girl, that was pretty funny. I don't think they meant it to be, but it was probably just meant to be kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the whole room I was in, we were laughing at the scene with Viserys and Lena, especially because the person that we saw, one of the people, again, I said we've been watching it with our Unsullied friend, and she had very extreme reactions. She was like, no, they're not really, you know, like she's reacting very vocally, and then she's like, but she's so tiny, you know. So we had a little bit of extra humor in our viewing based on an Unsullied's reaction to various things. That's probably one of my favorite things about the Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon experience, is getting to view it from, you know, virgin eyes, from eyes that don't know anything about it, living vicariously through them. It can be very fun.
Especially because the first time I saw that scene through, I heard the Balerion stuff, and that's all I was thinking about. On my second viewing, I went back through, I'm like, this is a pretty ridiculous scene, just like on its face of it. And then I started laughing. Also, Senrixie in the chat is now changing the lines from Phantom of the Opera songs to be about the crab feeder. This is what I'm all about. Somebody get Angelina, the Lindsay Ellis's editor. She's the one that's obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. This is her content. This is what she will do.
Oh yeah, we'll need to grab some video footage of that of Kragus and just cut it to that song, perhaps.
There you go. Put it on Twitter. Get 1 million likes.
Yeah, I might honestly do that depending on how Kragus goes next episode. It won't be the best week for me to do quick edits like that, so hopefully no one beats me to it. But
I
'cause we're
think-
doing our watch party, so
I
I'll be
think
a
you're
little
probably
busy.
okay cornering the Kragus Phantom of the Opera niche. If
I
somebody
don't
beats
know,
you
we'll
to
see.
that. The polls come in 54% crabs. That's why crab fear looks that
Oh.
way. 24% grayscale, 22% fire.
Interesting.
I should have added another option for he's related
He was
to
born
Cain.
that way.
No,
He was born that way.
related to the wrestler Kane, because he's wearing
Oh.
it's like a gold Kane mask that he's wearing, like pallbearers out there hyping him up as he's getting into the ring. Again, yeah, he kind of like I said, he looks like a wrestler. It's kind of a weird thing. It's like he's wearing high-waisted slacks.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like something about you doesn't quite fit Cragass. He's also probably not going to be here this long. In the show, they're hyping him up like quite a lot, but they're going to skip so much time that like maybe it's like 1 or 2 episodes where Daemon's really struggling with him, and he's probably just going to be out of the show.
I guess I kind of felt like it would just be resolved basically, if not by the end of the next episode, that it would be resolved in the episode after that. So you're right, 1 or 2 episodes max. I can't imagine a world where it goes on for longer than 2 episodes. Really, 1.5 episodes is kind of what I picture.
They're going to have to do a hard villain jump, though, because there's nobody else set up. Like, Daemon's just sort of seemed like a petulant kind of a-hole, but not really a villain. Otto is a scheming villain, but if you're looking for another guy like Cragass, like a Joffrey or a Ramsay, they don't have anybody else set up for that role. Like, Aemon's a long way off.
Yeah, I think they probably just play up at that point the conflict between Alicent and Rhaenyra as like Alicent being kind of the villain in Rhaenyra's life, or you know what I mean? Like, I think they don't have a
Larys.
really obvious. Oh,
I forgot about Larys.
Okay, yeah, I still don't know that we'll see that.
I think we're going to see Harwin soon, because they're going to do the going around the matches for Rhaenyra, and obviously Harwin's one of the suitors. Lionel pushes him forward, so we should see the Strong brothers in the next few episodes.
Yeah, you're right. We'll see them. I guess I can't. I don't know what I think Larys did that makes him seem like he would be like a villainous character right early on to you, right?
He's
like,
a torturer.
Okay, I guess we'll just cut to see him torturing, something like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to picture like an act that he did specifically, but okay, just torturing people. That's fair enough. If we
That's
just
his
cut
thing.
to,
That's his job. Also,
yeah.
fun fact, still no Master of Whispers. They are really holding that role open for Larys to take it. Nobody else,
Yeah.
no small council, Master of Whispers. I don't think there is one until Larys gets on there, and that's kind of it.
Does that mean that there'll just be two members of House Strong on the small council, and no one's like, imagine?
Larys
Is
makes
Lionel
it after
already-
Lionel dies.
Oh, okay, all right, then that makes more sense.
So I guess so. I wonder who they're going to kick out of the room for Larys. Like, I guess Beesbury. Oh, no. They're going to have to put another chair. They're going to have to get another marble. I guess he's going to take
Yeah.
Lionel's marble.
Yeah, I mean, but they'll need another master of. It would make sense that he would take Lionel's marble because it's the strong marble. Like it clearly is like for how strong. So like, yeah, that would make sense that he just takes his, and that the new master of laws has a new marble made.
If there
for
even
them.
is one. Like, there's a lot of kings that
Yeah.
go without a Master of Laws.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting that they might just not have all the seats filled. Yeah.
Well, they don't have it now, so
Yeah. No, it's true they don't have it now.
it's kind of, I wonder what that means. It's going to be like, I think we're good without laws. We need a torturer. So, we can kind of get rid of that job for a bit. We're going to let Larys just run wild on this city.
Yeah.
No trials, no justice. We're going full whispers.
Yeah. I wonder what will be the impetus to naming him. Like what lights a fire under them?
Literally lights a fire.
Yeah, but do you think that is that what is the direct line of impetus? Like then they do it.
I don't know. It is
I don't
really
know.
unexplained why he ends up on the side of the Greens.
Yeah.
He is such a mysterious character that they're gonna have to invent a reason for why he does what he does, and I don't know. It's that would be certainly one thing he could do to make a great service to the crown. People,
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying not to spoil it, what we're talking about.
Okay,
but people in the chat, you know what we're talking about. Larys does something to prove his worth. It has to be something big too, because he's a nobody. He's just a torturer. Let's see here. I win another poll with Crab, so I'm beating you 2-1.
Was that? I guess you'll take. I guess you can take that.
I'm taking more W's.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't have said that. I guess I technically voted for fire, but I would have been. I'm happy with any of them. I would have been happy with any of the three answers. I don't feel strongly about that one at all. To feel like you really got a win on me there.
I'm saying I got a win.
Feel competitive. You got a win, but not over me, because I don't really feel like I was arguing strongly for any of it. But I kind of think the crabs thing is strange. I would never have said crabs. So we'll see if it's crabs.
I hope it's crabs, just because it will be incredibly stupid.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That would be the dumbest thing they could put on screen, and I would enjoy every second a crab feeder explaining his origin story.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like, it's less so the fact that it was crabs that did it, and it's more the fact that he would have to monologue to tell someone about this. Like, that's the part that's weird to me. Yeah.
Does he have a Batman voice? Did he used to have a different voice, and now he just lowers it after he put, I was nothing before I put on the mask. He's like evil Batman. He's Crabman. Also Phantom of the Opera too. I feel
on the subject of accents, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say, I'm wearing a Mazaria shirt, but I'm not on board with that accent. She's a good actress too, so I feel more disappointed in it, because like the accent felt very I don't know. It just didn't feel like a good accent to me. No shade to her. Love Sonoya Mizuno. Love her acting. Thought she was an amazing actress. Not a fan of the accent. It was a choice that they made, and like she said, she's not from anywhere in particular, so that's very much is an accent that isn't from anywhere in particular.
I guess that has to be the argument for why they chose it. It's like, well, you have to sound foreign, but like you're not from anywhere. It's like, yeah, okay, but then you kind of went for like King's Landing English, kind of like a Scouser kind of thing, and then also like extreme Far East thing, like a crazy like I don't even know, like an East Asian accent or something. It was like the two of them mixed together. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I really don't love it. I definitely think it's just generic, very generic foreign type of accent, and I expected a lot better from her. Yeah. Like, again, I've seen her in many things, and she's always been very good, and she's done accents in other things I've seen her do, and they were not bad accents. I don't think that's really a fault on the part of the actress. I think the oversight should have been, this is not working, let's workshop this. Like, I don't get how no one in the creative process thought that this accent didn't work. Like, I don't get how that made it through.
It was just crazy. That's a directing problem. That's definitely a directing problem. No, somebody kind of a
when they first did the first line
showrunner problem.
Yeah, like I think it's a showrunner. I do think that's the kind of thing that it's a showrunner problem unless it worked for Ryan. Like, if it just genuinely, he loved it. I don't know exactly. I don't know how it could work for anyone, really. I know.
Well, he won't answer that one.
No, I don't want to ask about that. Absolutely not. You're joking.
Maybe you can ask him in a nice way. Like, I really loved my Sarya's accent. Where'd you get the idea for it?
Someone's going to come in with the receipts from this stream. I was being two-faced. But no.
Ryan Condal will never see this stream.
No.
Although, Ryan, if you are, like, hey, I'll do an interview.
Yeah, hi. But yeah, that is exciting. We are interviewing Ryan Condal tomorrow. Yeah. It's not going to be live. We're just going to record it and edit it and release it like that. Sure. But it's a short interview. But we will be asking him some questions about canon and about the intro sequence and other topics like that. I want to ask him. I also just want to ask him about, like, what he's into when it comes to A Song of Ice and Fire. I don't have a good sense of him as like a fan. Like, who are his favorite POVs?
I've never heard him say anything
Stuff
about
like that.
It. He just says, I'm a fan.
Yeah, he just says I'm a fan. So I would like to get a sense of him just for some of the things we want to talk to him about. Maybe that's not the hard-hitting questions people want, but I want to get a sense of our showrunner as someone as what he likes in A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Like, what's his favorite POV?
Yeah, something like that. I wanted to ask either what's his favorite POV or what other era in Targaryen history, like in Fire and Blood, would he be interested in? Something about not House of the Dragon, but just getting a sense.
You could quiz him on some crazy tinfoil, like ask him who's Quaithe. See what his answer is. Who's Septa Lamore? Do you have what's your favorite theory on who that character really is?
I did consider the idea of like, well, it would be kind of fun to ask him about theories or ask him that, but I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. I want to cultivate a good relationship and not turn him off.
I think you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, maybe he would.
Maybe he's asking like rapid fire. Like I have like 5 theories here. 5 fan theory. Well, okay, so that's maybe too many. Maybe you pick like 2 or 3 really obvious ones, and then be like, just go down and like, what's your opinion on these?
Yeah, something like that might be interesting for sure. So yeah, we got to decide now. We were waiting to finish our question document until after we watched episode 2 because we figured we'd have some questions based on episode 2. It's a short 30-minute interview, so we won't have time for much. Like we might ask him about canon stuff, and he goes off for 15 minutes, and then we get 2 questions in.
I don't know. He looks pretty tired in his interview these days. I bet he's going to be quick.
Yeah, I hope he gives some nice, succinct, concise answers. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're probably about good here. We got to get some sleep tonight. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here for episode 2? Anything we didn't cover?
No, I think we covered everything. I'll say Lena is the most pure little snowflake, and she can do no wrong, even when she's riding. If any sort of dragon, even no matter if she kills someone, Lena can do no wrong.
I don't even think she kills anything. I'm
a Lena apologist. I don't think she does either, but I don't know what they'll do in House of the Dragon. I don't know a scenario where that would happen, but I just don't think that that's gonna cross over in time enough. Like Laenor, maybe, but that's a question. I think maybe we'll see Laenor riding sea smoke in the Stepstones. Maybe
Meleys.
that. Meleys. We'll see Meleys. So the dragons we'll see coming up. We'll see Meleys and Caraxes at the Stepstones for sure, and maybe Laenor and sea smoke. But I don't know how if they want their young son. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but if he was a little older, maybe for sure. But he's pretty, he looks like he's 14 or whatever, maybe 13.
I think they change actresses pretty quick with Lena because we have the wedding feast coming up.
Yeah.
The one that they've, the one going down the stairs and the crazy big one with Daemon on the dais. Actually, that's after Lionel Strong's Hand of the King by then, so that's gonna be coming pretty quick. Probably next episode or 2 we'll probably see the wedding sequence because Daemon shows up with his short hair, and we know that Daemon has his short hair because of the crown. That's really funny that he cut his hair to look better with his crown.
Yeah.
Or did Crab Feeder do it with his pincers? I think we've reached the silly point of the night, so I think it's probably about good.
I think we reached that point when we put the hat on and I put a Pikachu on my head.
Yeah, this was a different stream. Very different from the one we did the other day on your channel. This is kind of what I'm like.
That was fun.
So,
that was nice.
Ashaya, why don't you go ahead and pimp out all your good stuff? What do you got coming up?
All right. Well, after we finish this, I have to go right into editing. We were doing, for History of Westeros, we're doing short, under 10-minute synopsis videos for each episode that I put pictures, visuals on screen for, and Aziz narrates. And so that should be up on your feeds tomorrow afternoon, assuming I get through the edit promptly, maybe sooner. We'll see. So I have that edit to do. Ooh, the lights just changed in here because it's 12:30. All of a sudden, at 12:30, I have the lights changed to rainbow colored. So that's what just happened in this room. Why it changed color?
What? Why?
Yeah,
Why rainbow?
Because it's kind of just to separate. It's kind of be hey, look, it's after midnight. Maybe
rainbow
segue
time,
into a
of
different.
Course.
Yeah, the rainbow time. I have it also turns green at 4:18 every afternoon and every morning.
So you can remember to smoke dank weed.
Yeah, that is why. But no, this is just to tell me hey, chill out. I also have one that turns brown at 2 a.m. when it's time to take out the trash.
What is your life?
I know. Full of colored lights, mood lighting.
So. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
But anyways, we have our synopsis video coming out tomorrow afternoon, but we also are doing streams every Monday at 6 p.m., which are spoiler free for all of y'all who are not familiar with Fire and Blood. They are safe. Then we do Saturday streams at 3 p.m. Eastern that are spoilery. Our most recent episode had Joe Magician right here. And our next, we'll have some good guests throughout the season each week. So we have
worst
Mondays
guests. Worse.
Worst guess. Anyways, Mondays at 6 p.m., Saturdays at 3 p.m. You can find us. And you can keep an eye out for the Ryan Condal interview. That'll be probably out on Tuesday or something like that.
And definitely go watch the Germ one, because
Oh.
that was a great interview. A lot of good information there. Ashaya went viral for tweeting about it.
Yeah. No, I did get. I really was being driven crazy by any misconceptions coming out of the interview that I did. That was just like, I didn't really want to talk about canon stuff because I kind of feel like George does. We're making this shit up. Who cares about getting too bogged down in that? But like, I saw people that said that George said it was all one canon, like period. Like the shows and the books are one canon. I was like, no.
That sounds like the dumb kind of thing I would say.
It's like, no, it's not right. It's not right. Anyways.
Well, a lot of good stuff in that interview. You and Aziz did great. Also, some really interesting stuff. We talked about the Fire Mages stuff that comes up with genetics. George's approach to parallel lives and his influences. Spoiler alert. We can just go ahead and delete all of our content talking about how George is referencing specific things. All right. Fine.
Yeah. No, I know there's a lot of like some things that were more lore centric that people thought were more interesting, but I thought it was very surprising to hear that I thought he would say that it was sometimes consciously that he does parallel lives. I thought he would, be like every once in a while, but mostly, but no, he was just like, no, not consciously at all.
Absolutely not.
He's just a genius that's able to weave things together so seamlessly without doing it nearly as planned as you might think. Like he just kind of puts it together and it works. It's just impressive.
I think it's a good thing that people find connections, but they don't have to be canon to be true. That's one of the things I've always banged on about. It's like it's okay to like live by the death of the author. Like you can get things out of it that are not literally true. He has important things to say, but you know what, guys? You're important too.
Yeah.
There we go. Is that the end of all the stuff you have coming up?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay.
It sure is.
For me, I got the 3 videos I put out the last couple of weeks. The Aegon's Dream one, Viserys' Dream one, because all I do is talk about dreams these days, and then defending Aegon and the Targaryens not doing anything. You can check those out in my content feed, I guess. Actually, if any of the mods, if you guys could quickly grab the links to those and put them in there. I also, I'm doing shorts. I did one today about what dragons smell like, because this is the kind of content I make these days, apparently. Also, the what are the ball things, the marbles we talked about. I thought it was really funny that it was like a very simple thing, and people were like going crazy, like, oh, it means this thing, and it's referencing that, and they're like, no, we just thought it was a cool idea. You just put a marble in a saucer. The answers are usually, well, what is it? The something strange, reality strange. Oh no, I'm sorry. Reality is usually pretty boring. For these kind of creative decisions. I'll have videos coming out this week. I didn't do a review because I didn't feel like it. Maybe I'll do one this week. But I'm sure I will find something that we talked about probably tonight and probably expand it into a full video. Made a thing about Balerion that was kind of interesting. I'm also planning to do a dragon Pokedex.
Oh, cool.
Because I need to know them and I don't. So I'm going to make a video about it so that I freaking learn them. Cat.
Yeah, nice. Oh, yeah, there's a cat. Oh, the cat tail. He's passing. Come back. No, come back.
Come back. Show the cat.
Lost him. I know. Come here, buddy.
Unbelievable. So I'll be doing that, and while Ashaya wrangles.
Oh. There's a cat. There he is. I might have lost the camera because of that, but no, it was fine. There he is, little Nova this time.
Oh,
he doesn't want to stay on camera. They're not as well behaved as Sean's cats when we have them on stream. Not. He just like cradles them. No, Nova says no. Oh, bye.
All right, we'll see you later. I guess he didn't want attention.
No, he did. Shedding all over me.
Yeah. So that stuff will be coming. Maybe a review. Other people do better reviews than I do, and this kind of is a review anyway. So, like, I feel like we covered it pretty well. I guess
it helped me crystallize the stuff that I want to have in our synopsis and that I want to put in our review stream tomorrow. So it was good for me.
Doing favors to everybody.
Oh.
Well, that's what it's about. It's a collaborative fandom. We all learn from each other, especially from me, because this is my week of jubilee. is so right about everything. It's actually weird.
Your week of Jubilee.
It's weird
It's called Jubilee, actually.
Jubilee. There you go. The week of Jubilee. A lot of my content doesn't get believed by a lot of people. It's mostly considered pretty tinfoily. That's what we were talking about the other day on stream, where it's like, you guys have a high bar. So do a lot of people. So like, my tinfoily takes aren't often. I don't even expect them to turn out correct. That they are is a weird feeling. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was right. Cool. Well, anyway, so Ashaya's gonna go edit. I'm gonna try and get my voice back. I'm gonna answer my 1,000 Twitter messages because I was shitposting before we went live, and I will see you guys later.